some group of the Knights of the Watch in Bissell.
Harbor Town.
Yep.
It's in yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Harbor Town is an all-new series from
trying to
Miniature
think how
Building
to get
Authority, the leader in tabletop gaming scene.
Yeah, it's in the
Unique,
folder. Just
flexible, and playable.
I know. I just
Harbor Town will take your games to a new level.
Can you link it in Discord?
I can put it.
Just that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can anyone watching hear us? Blah 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 blah. Tomorrow night, NBA quarterly giveaway event. $75 gift certificate for subs, $25 for followers and regular sign-ups. Can anyone out there hear me? Anyone? Bueller?
Testing.
I did test and it was working, so guess we'll find out shortly, huh? Good. Thanks, David. One's enough. That means it works for everyone.
What's the topic this week?
Knighthoods. Greyhawk.
Okay, can I see you? Yay.
Yes, don't call me Shirley.
Jason's in the house.
Oh, and Jason sent me a message, and I'm sorry, Jason, I haven't got back to you yet, but I want so much to join your group.
Jason, do you like movies about gladiators?
I do.
Yes. Might as well have some fun tonight, right?
Many sponsors, Jake.
Only 3.
It's like a NASCAR driver.
Yes,
Yep,
here comes the new Tim ad.
Yeah, and it will take half an hour soon to get through the
Well, I got it down to 10, and it may be quicker than that. I
no,
rushed through a
but
couple of
it's
stuff.
good. I'm just teasing you. It's awesome. Yeah.
Get some lets people get on.
Yep.
What am I doing here? I'm talking to myself, which isn't good. Hey, Left Coast Scott, what's up? I like Left Coast Scott came on Thursday night. He goes, "This looks different." On the broadcast Thursday, that was awesome. Tim with his names, the Battle for Schitt's Creek. That was named like 1987. Yeah, well, that's cool. I'm glad to hear it. It was a great night on Thursday, last Thursday. It was awesome.
I haven't seen your recap of PAX and stuff on Sunday. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, and I really rambled. I really went for it. Almost play-by-play on the 2 adventures and also on Thursday, and it was good. It was
Great.
Tim hopped on for the Thursday part, so and there's a Tim quote on the screen now. It'll probably be harder than the last one. That's awesome. Whoops. Hit the wrong one. Hit the wrong button. Hit the wrong button. Hit the wrong button again. No, I'm just kidding. I did. Yeah, I did. I hit the wrong button twice. That's what I hate about it. And I got them all like coded by pictures on this stupid Stream Deck. So we may talk about some of the instances like of the Knights of the Holy Shielding as pertains to this Trials of the Legion mega adventure that's going to be run in 2020 because it happens right in the Shieldland. So, well, Chris, haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you. Trick as well. So, Mike, do you know this other Mike on Twitter that was talking to you?
We've been doing the tweet thing back and forth, but no, I don't know him personally.
Okay, all right, because I know he contacted you, and but it was nice. He put a nice shout out to me and 2 other channels, which was cool. So it was nice of him. He's hopefully that'll. I know he changed his account ID over, so. Yeah. So. Oh man. Yeah, nothing like mega gaming coming up with that one in 2020. Everyone, my guys are like, I want to run a high level. Okay, be careful what you wish for. So. If you notice on Anna's map too, the Free Reavers lands is much bigger than it is on the regular map.
I'm thinking because I just did that like 15 years ago, so I need to go back and rethink it. So how?
You added that on for me. I said the Free Reavers got land in mine's got to be much bigger. They have much more influence in my game, so that's how that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't have a clue, so they said something about the 20 miles around, so I just.
Yeah, that's more than 20.
Yeah. So that's that. It's the 20 miles. I just draw that in the whole area around it. So yeah.
Yeah, Jason, we're going to talk about all that. So definitely. Now we can go to this screen. How's that? There we go. There's our topic for tonight. Yeah. Should be a real good conversation tonight. I got the old protector up there.
Yeah. Which we can talk about too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking like I'm forgetting to do something. Don't you hate that? I'm like, hey, Tabletop Roleplay Theater, what's going on? I saw it. Thank you for the post on Discord. I saw that, man. That was awesome. Hello. After we've been off the last 2 weeks because of holidays and Anna travel, so I'm Jay, aka Lord Gazumba, and I'm with Greyhawk Mike and Adam Meyer.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
It's our third episode of Legends and Lore on the Lord Kazumba channel, and thank you. And this topic, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Knighthoods of Greyhawk, and when we first got the Greyhawk folio, and you had all those great heraldic symbols around it, what's the first thing you looked at? Well, the first thing I did was like, which one of these are Knighthoods?
Right.
Which ones are countries, right? I wanted
Yeah.
to see what the orders of Knighthoods were, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a couple here.
Yeah, there's
So-
a couple. There's a couple of them, and even in the original folio and from the box set from '83, there's Knight of the Heart are there. I think in all three variants, or maybe only one. I'm not sure.
No, I think all three are on there.
Yeah, I think all three of them. Yeah,
yeah.
are there. And then you have the which one we talked about before we
The
went on
Watch.
live here. Yeah, we have Knights of the Watch and also Knights of the Holy Shielding. But there is some interesting because that seems to be the Shieldland shield and not Knights of the Holy Shielding. So
Maybe there's a reason for that.
Do you know the reason for that, or are you?
I could guess.
So, oh, look at that! I didn't even pop that one up. Old Slow Tiger, thank you. All right, let's. What's your guess, Mike? Let's. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh,
this
well,
is awesome. Yep.
The shield lands, I think, are a buffer from the northern marches from everyone else, and so it's ruled by the Knights Holy Shielding, if I'm correct, the commander of the
Yep.
Knights Holy Shielding. So the symbol of the nation of the shield lands should be the same as the knighthood because the knighthood is the shield lands. It's synonymous.
Okay. Interesting. Good point. I did not know that, and
That part I knew.
Makes-
That's why it was interesting when you have found a
Well-
shield that showed the Knights of the Holy Shielding as separate from
No,
the
I'm sure there's ways to break it down further.
Yeah.
right.
and that's what I'm going to plan to do for my upcoming campaign next year is that I will start detailing the Knights of the Holy Shielding a bit more. That would be different units and stuff like that. So that way I will start making signs for the different parts of it.
So I am doing something I really don't like to do, but I am adding something after that we've already started our discussion here. So that I just got.
Yes, that I just sent. Like
Yes,
2
and I
minutes ago.
think I'm going to be capable of doing it. I think it's in.
Okay,
So we're going to
good,
reset
good.
this back to the top. It's in. Okay. All right. So when you think about it, I don't know if you compare to other game settings, but is it a lot of Knighthoods in Greyhawk or not a lot? But I always thought. Go ahead, Mike.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought there weren't never enough.
Yeah,
Exactly. I
that's what
always
thought.
missed them. And
Obviously.
the most glorious ones, the Knights of Protectors from the glory days of the Great Kingdom, are no longer around, not in their old form, so to speak. But Knight of the Heart have always felt like a true knight order for knighthood and knight order for me in my campaign. So those have been the kind of the most kind of standard old medieval knights kind of thing in my games.
Yeah, I just love I love organization. You know, of course, as logging 867 adventures, it would probably tell you that I love organization, and just the Knighthoods always struck me as a place where you could have player characters, and you could bring them into a group and have group cause, missions and things like that, and that's kind of what happened in my campaign. But let's, I guess we should talk about canon published sources first. And hey, what's up there,
I know
Gary?
you wanted to
Here we
stop
have
and
experts. Awesome.
We have some experts, but
Yes.
let's talk about the one we're showing up now, and that's let's go to the Great Kingdom and the Knights of Doom. The
Knights of Doom are from the I think they're and this is something Gary can correct me on. I think they're mentioned even in the Living Greyhawk guest here because they're from the United Kingdom of Alyssa. They are a creation for that the United Kingdom of Alyssa created after the fall of the Great Kingdom. So they're kind
after
of
the fall.
Yes,
No,
I think so.
No.
Yeah. Maybe they're older than that.
All right,
I
I
don't
have
know.
Dragon number 59 in my hand.
Awesome.
An article by Rob Kuntz,
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Great Kingdom and the Knights of Doom, notes from the World of Greyhawk fantasy setting. I'm sorry, Anna, but I
that's
did
good.
I did some thanks to Jason.
That's
this is
awesome. Yep.
old. So it talks to, specifically, and I found the other article. I think it's Living Greyhawk. They took it right from this article.
Okay,
It's almost
perfect.
verbatim, word
Awesome.
for
Yep.
word, out
Yep.
of this
Right.
Rob Kuntz article, and
Yep.
he has another one a few dragons later, which mentions a couple other things. It's those events in the Eastern and Southern Flannis articles he did back in the day. These,
Hmm.
right? So you have that, and this is pre-wars. It says that Herzog. This movement came down as an imperial order from the Roxas to help alleviate the problems created by the incursions of Almor and Niron into the southern part of Bone March, as well as to answer the North Province's call for aid against these
Oh,
attacks. So that's pretty crazy that they decided to do this. Hey, what's up, Carlos? Yes, Knights of Doom, exactly. That Dragon 59 is where I found most of this information.
Yep.
And then they moved it to Living Greyhawk. So he rediscovered them. Okay, that's good, Gary. He rediscovered them from this article. I love this idea. So thanks a lot, Carlos. And it's a good time to do that. Because tomorrow night's the biggie of all biggies of drawings. It's the $75 NBA gift certificate giveaway for Miniature Building Authority for subscribers and followers, even a $25. And that'll be on our stream tomorrow night, our normal game. So if you're automatically entered if you're a sub, you don't even have to be on. But this is pretty nasty going back that far, and it talks about them starting to be all humans, hit dice 4 to 10. And they always wear gold-plated. I like this.
gold-plated
Normal men
armor.
with undistinguishable features, their faces hidden by visors. They always wear gold-plated armor in defiance and mockery. It is said of those aligned lawful good. So Rob had some disturbing stuff way back in the 80s. But I don't know where they went from that point on, and Living Greyhawk, me not being a part of it. So,
Well, they were part of the United Kingdom of Alyssa, of the Overking Seveners kind of revival and bringing up his nation up to speed, so to speak, during the Living
But
Greyhawk
surely
campaign.
they weren't the demon devil type.
He runs a very evil regime, but in he wanted to scare the living bejesus out of his. But that's something I did for my campaign. So the shields showing there were for my campaign because he wanted to simply tie into the myth of the Death Knights. So he used the Knights of Doom just to scare all the peasants around, to simply, well, especially the borderlands between North Kingdom and United Kingdom of Alyssa. So he wanted to expand north, so to speak, and make sure that all the plebeians and the peasants were taken into or scare them into submission and where he wanted them to be. So they have some magical powers and stuff. Those shields, they can stare at you and fear you and stuff. So yeah.
So Gary brings up a point as well
Yeah.
that's right in this article. Gary, good kudos about Zane. All right. So it says they will appeal mounted or on foot, depending on the type. They are versatile. These controlled servants of the Overking and Zane were created by the two wizards to marshal armies and to convert all whom they encounter by the sword or fear of death. So yes,
Yeah.
the answer to that is that yes, that's the case. So we have David on. We have a whole crew. Hey guys, I just want to say for you, you bloggers out there, we're going to do a specific. I don't know if it's going to be Gavin or Legends and Lore, but we're going to have an episode just for the bloggers and I include you, Mike, all together. All those great bloggers that we have. We're going to just do one episode on blogging with Greyhawk. I think it would be a great topic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Blogging.
So, yeah, blogging. So definitely a I wish, I don't play on that side of the map, so I don't know anything at all about.
Well, it was like 4 years ago since I played, but I remember when I read through all that stuff, that's when I kind of picked up on the Knights of Doom, and they didn't play they were not a vital part of my campaign, but they were definitely a part of it, so to speak. So and they were an instrument of the Overking of United Kingdom of Alyssa to scare the bejesus. That was one of his kind of in modern warfare you will call them special forces, but back then it was some of the shock forces he had to round up and simply force people to flee where he wanted them to flee to, so he can increase population and depopulate some of the villages up in the areas where he was kind of interested in conquering. So yeah.
Cool. Hey,
Casey.
there's Casey as well.
Oh, hi.
So
Hi, Casey.
we got a full crowd tonight, guys. Thanks a lot for this. Appreciate it. We're just trying to keep things interesting here. So this is a topic that we've never touched on in any of my Gavin discussions at all.
No, and I
Never
don't know much
talked
about it.
other
So this
other
is
9 campaign knighthood.
Yeah.
So I know I'm going to learn something tonight, which is a good thing. So all right, Carlos has a question, Mike. Is there any knighthoods in all? What? Yeah.
I would be surprised if any knighthoods had ever heard of all. They're just
yeah.
so geographically isolated that
Right.
no.
Yeah, and it's also true knighthoods require a certain degree of organization, so that is way higher than most military forces and stuff, because they have a code and they have a lot of stuff that goes beyond just a warband. So that's why I think that the Knights of Doom are kind of questionable whether they are actually a true knighthood or if they're just
Because it's not a chivalric.
Exactly. So they're
it's diabolic.
Yeah. So what's kind of the Knight Protectors and then the Order of the Heart and the Order of the Shield and the Order of the Watch, I think are true knighthoods in the way that they probably fulfill almost all of these criteria, so to speak. But the Knights of the Doom are kind of I would say them a pseudo knighthood kind of. Yeah.
Well, from the point of view of the World of Greyhawk guide, how it's written, I think that the Knight Protectors are the benchmark for knighthood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So we got a question we definitely want to get to about Pharisees and the equivalent to knighthoods. Down, we'll do that.
Pharisees. Oh man,
well, we will get to that, Mike. Absolutely, because that's your. So let's talk about. I went through and I found, and this came from that Sword and Fist reference, which was 3rd edition. I found that, and I also found on the Knight Protectorates. I think it was Living Greyhawk. Let me just get to it. No, it wasn't. So you got this Knight Protector of the Kingdom that came out of the 3rd edition.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it had some discussion on that as well. And one other thing, Anna. Remember you had the question about Rel Astra?
Yeah.
So I found this in the next Rob Kuntz events that I was talking about that had a little mention to the Doom Knights. Okay, and let me read you a paragraph here and see if this helps. This is the next last paragraph of the article. In actuality, it is believed that the cream of Medigia's troops are remaining with the Holy Censor. There are no fewer than 6,000 guards of various sorts at the capital city, parentheses, which is Mentry. The World of Greyhawk Gazetteer erroneous labels Rel Astra, a 70 independent city, as the capital.
Yes.
So it is Mentry. According to Rob
exactly.
Kuntz's
It is. It is Mentry, and it was mentioned there. So thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
That gives me. Yeah, I actually got that. Someone else told me that too. That there is a errata, so to speak. So it is Mentry and not Rel Astra. Yeah, because when you read the text on the original source, it states that Rel Astra is not the capital, but in the labeling or the headlines it states Rel Astra. So it's kind of confusing. So but
my apologies. It is Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, and that's why I start off with that cover. So Knight Protectors of the Great Kingdom, page 157. So of all, let me just read the first line. Of all the knighthoods in the history of the Flanace, and this is Tabletop Roleplay Theater's question. None was greater than the fabled Knight Protectors of the Great Kingdom. Of once many hundreds in number, and this is during Living Greyhawk days. Their membership has since dwindled, perhaps no more than 24 today. So. And
those are in like Raddick or something.
And Grandwood and remote places, Bone March, I think too, as well. Let's see. It says that they were relocated. They were formed in negative 107 CY, so you're going back a long time.
Yeah.
In history. Once again, I wish I knew more, and I'm not just reading I'm just reading right from the
Yeah.
documentation.
Knight Protectors won the Battle of Shamble Field, I believe, which is involves Spine Castle.
Oh yes, they covered that's when they expanded the Great Kingdom up and didn't Great Kingdom build Spine Castle as their big fortress to protect from the north? That's what
Right.
I assumed all along, that it was the bulwark defense against all the hordes of barbarians and stuff coming from the north. So they kind of built that to cover the Kalmar Pass. Yeah, or pass. Yeah.
So Mind Criem.
I think it
Oh,
would be is it Mind Crime?
yeah, Mine Crime, whatever it is,
Minecraft, yeah.
says that there are some that are actually named in regional docks in Alyssa for living Greyhawk. So, and I know they're hard to pull. Mine Crime, okay, good. That makes it a lot easier. Thank you, Mike,
Yep.
for that. So, so how many of them are named Minecraft? 2, 3, 4? I mean, it's cool that that's the case.
I know at least one is mentioned in
Okay.
the formation of the Bone March, because he became the first ruler of Bone March, because he won some battle up there. I forgot the name now, but it's I have it in the history of Bone March here somewhere. So there are a number of them mentioned in various historic references to the Great Kingdom and back in the day. So if you go back, you can probably find more than one name. But I'll see here, realms and places. Let's see if I can.
What got me was that I guess in the course of role play and bringing up a new character, you may have someone who aspires to want to join this. And I know that they said that some of them meet for an annual battle session to see if they can, for new prospects. I'm thinking to myself, man, that must be awfully dangerous in that time frame to attempt to do something like that with only 24 of you left. It kind of reminds me almost of the Excalibur, like how the Round Table Knights at the end, where there was only a few of them left in the movie. Kind of reminds me of the same thing. It's like it's completely dying, and that it's like an endangered species almost. So it's pretty neat. So let's see what Gary says. They were the first true knighthood in the Great Kingdom. In a sense, they were meritocratic and established their own code. The rules of Parliament. I noticed that in here. Very interesting concepts, and I wish that I guess in Living Greyhawk there was a lot more discussions on it, but I think that someone, I don't know if it's capable, someone should write an entire book on it.
And Mike, you're absolutely right. Right at the battle of the
Shamble Field.
Yeah, and it was actually a guy named Kalnivir that won the day in 197. He won the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
109. 109. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So everyone's talking about Knight Protectors right now, but I think the Knights of the Watch came first.
Yeah, since Shieldlands are so much older and Sheldamar Valley was settled and civilized long before the Great Kingdom, so that they might be the oldest knighthood. Yeah,
that's interesting. I did not does not state that here, but then again, Gary had put down that the
someone can check and
absolutely.
Probably.
All right, Anna, explain to us the differences in the heraldry. Can you do that? Why the heraldry change? Let me
well, the shield that is up there, that's the Knight of the Watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to move it over to the protectors here.
And then there was in Living Greyhawk campaign, that was
there's an original. There's the original Protector Knights.
Oh yeah, that was the one that I saw someone did for the Living Greyhawk campaign. They did this one, and so I kind of thought it was official, or I didn't know, but I kind of that was used in various Living Greyhawk documents, so I used it, and then I didn't like it much, to be honest, but I used the base of it. It became the Reldevin shield, because the Reldevin shield was described somewhere in some text to be black with the yellow shields or sun, so I used that one. And then Brian Blomklotz created this one with the a lot of the IRD stars all over it in a pattern, and I like that one way better. So that's why I picked this one to for my upgraded map, so to speak.
Now
I
is that
don't
is
know
that
what
you or Brian? I'm
Brian's.
sorry on that one.
It's Brian
Oh,
Bloomcloth's
Brian did that
design
one.
back
Okay,
then,
cool.
yes, but I don't know how what the sources are. If it's just his inspiration or he finds some text somewhere. That's something we have to ask
No,
Brian about.
we did a gabbing with Brian about I don't
Yeah,
know 9 months ago, and he
yeah.
tells us how he came to that shield
Yeah,
in that
so there
gabbing.
is yeah, exactly. He talked
Yeah,
about it. So there is, if you want to go back and talked about in one of the Gabbins that
and he
he had.
apologizes. I actually kind of asked him to be on tonight, but he had a date, so a wife
Mhm.
date night tonight. So yeah,
Damn.
yeah, absolutely. So all right, so until the Bone March was overrun by humanoid armies. All right, well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very interesting on the Night Protectors.
And when it comes to the Knight Protectors, I'm also interested in the Hextorians versus the Pelorians and how that unfolded in the or was in the Knight Protectors. I don't know this. It's just something that how was that divided? Meaning they're both, were they factions within it, or were this an a-religious organization, the Knight Protectors? Were they merely political,
Hmm.
defending the realm, or
I don't.
Mike? Do you have any theories on that one? Because that's something I'm very interested in.
The Night Protectors originally they had Haranians and Hextorians in it, and it was kind of like
Mhm.
everyone kind of got along, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't can't speak on. It's not my strong suit. Great Kingdom.
Not me neither, but now I read through most of the material at least once, and some of it I read twice, and there's some interesting, especially Nailix and up in the northern part of in what became the North Kingdom, up in let's see, it's in Rinluru and also
Yeah.
in the Delaric. Those principalities were run by Nailixians or from Nailex, and they are run by, and now also the Principality of Stringen is run by Hextorians. It's it's run by Lady Kath,
And
and she became a Death Knight, and she was a Hextorian priest
yes, yes.
and stuff. So there's seems to be up north. There seems to be way more Hextorians mentioned, so to speak, and the Naelex
Uh,
house is more prevalent up there, and
uh, the
the Pelorians seem to,
Hextorians. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Are you mentioning Hextorians? Are they the Fists of Hextor, or is that something different?
Well, the Fists of Hextor, that I'm not really sure what they how they fit in, so to speak. That might be simply a clerical order of Hextor knights to that protect the Church of Hextor, and I don't know how that was organized either. But it's interesting how the knights protectors back in the day, if they were non-religious, so knights could have whatever religion they wanted as long as they fulfilled their knightly duties, or if the that kind of schism between the Hextorians and the Pelorians were kind of an official part of it. I don't know. And also the Pelorian seems to have almost disappeared from Great Kingdom
Mm,
later on, and I guess that they escaped back to Nairon, to Ferond and Pale and all the other areas, so to speak, because it seems like
imagine. Yeah,
Hextorians almost won that battle in over
right.
ideology within the
Ah.
Great Kingdom. Yeah.
So, all right. So, Casey says it's going to be helpful if we differentiate between knighthoods local to one nation and multinational
Yeah.
organizations that are fuzzy on Greyhawk orders. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, you, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think that, yeah, uh, he wasn't here when I said that there's a lot of kind of quasi orders too, and things that are kind of seen, they have various knightly names and orderly names, but they're not really fully orders, so to speak. So it's kind of that Knights of Doom is a perfect example of something that is kind of almost in order, and maybe in some ways not, in some ways are, because you need the codified, they need to have some sort of political backing and recognition as an order, and an organization and assets and all that too, so to be a knightly order, I think.
Yeah. So, Casey, we will do that because there's only so many organizations here, and I don't think we'll, because a lot of us won't delve into the weeds as much with, because like I said,
Yeah.
I have zero living Greyhawk. It's specific, and it's unfortunate
Yeah.
that I don't have that information. But
But there's a bunch of local ones here and there that calls themselves Knight so and so and whatnot. So and some of them might even be kind of organized enough to be some sort of order too. And there's always coming in them in the making. So as time advance in your campaign, you can kind of make orders appear and grow into an organization, can grow into an order
sounds like
too.
a good idea, Anna.
Yeah, yeah, you can build. Yeah, and I would say that that's exactly what you've done in your campaign.
Yeah, actually, I have
I was
two
going
when
to.
you think about it.
Oh,
So I'm
okay,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I have two different ones. Um,
But we have the Knights of the Heart. Is we haven't talked much about them, but
no, yeah.
they are to me the if you go to 576, they are the most shining example of a true knightly order, so to speak.
So the Knights of the Heart appear mostly a lot in the Marklands and the Eyes the Evil, right? References is where you can find a lot of them. I mean, that's where I found them. A lot of use of information.
Yeah, they are a knightly order that appeared in the western half of the Great Kingdom as it
No,
fell
Carlos.
apart
We don't
in
want to burn
Ferrond.
through them.
Yeah, so in Ferrond, in Furiundi, Veluna, and Highfolk, and then so there are like three branches of it. That you have the probably the biggest branch, at least up until the Greyhawk Wars, were the biggest branch in Furiundi. But they have the blue shield with the antlers, and then you have the Knights of Veluna, the Order of the Heart of Veluna, that has the black shield. And then you have the Knights of the Heart High Folk that has the green shield, that also allow Elven Knights
I think,
in
aren't they all Elven Knights?
No.
Half
I'm
Elven?
not sure if all of them are Elven, but I know they at least have Elven Knights, but I
Well,
don't know if all of them, but that might be the case because it's
let's
kind of an Elven realm
let's
up there.
discuss this whole. All right, Knights of the entire Knights of the Heart organization. It's
Yeah.
very. I wouldn't. It's very unregionalized. Like it's not militant, right? And I know it says it got militant during the wars, but I always saw it as, and they say commoners and nobles join it as well. So it's an organization that it's one of the few that is really pulling from the less, the lesser man, if you want to say. I
Yeah,
hate
I
saying
saw it
that.
as meritocratic, meaning you had to be damn good in order
Right.
to, and not only you have to or be able to use a sword and all the weaponry and the fighting capability, but also when it came to alignment and your kind of your behavior, so to speak, you had to be a person to so charisma was probably a very important trait on whoever wanted to aspire to be a knight, because they probably played that role too as some sort of rock stars of the population. They were supposed to be this that pop, to kind of guide the population, I guess, morally and stuff like that too. So they had a lot of roles that was non-military. I don't think they had any large forces or anything that way. They were more kind of role models somehow. That seemed that be them being described that way.
Not that I can see, David, on that question about any others in the East besides the Protectors and the Doom. I haven't seen any.
Knights of Medici, yeah.
I really haven't seen any others. So
No.
is there? I could not. I don't know if Ling Greyhawk changed this. I'm assuming it did, but a lot of name personages in the orders of the Knights of the Heart. It's a huge um, sub knighthood in my campaign. And if we go to, I want to hop to a map real quick if you don't mind. All right, I want to hop to the Vespi Forest map. So, especially the Knights of the High Forest here. Hopefully, I'm going to go right by it. Every time I try and stop on a map, keep going, keep going. I had all these set up for areas all over the place. I probably didn't put it in here.
You need to put it in
I
because
didn't
now
put
you're
it
going to
in.
run.
It's not
Yeah,
in.
you're going to
Oh
run
gosh, forget it.
twice. Yeah.
All right, so the Vespi Forest, Knights of the High Forest, I have down, and there's some argument. I know one of the publications says it's elves only, and I think I have one human down, but I think that human is actually a knight of Furiandi, who's
I think
mentioned.
Helfelven would be. I can share my screen if you want.
Sure, sure, but it doesn't have the eagle's nest on it. It doesn't have my keep on it, does
Oh,
it?
that's true. It doesn't have
Yeah,
your. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
yeah,
often knighthoods were awarded to
we skip
service
it
for
then. Yep.
liege lord, but they could merely be honorific. Um, I noticed. All right, so Sharnalem, she has the Tiergs and she has the keep right at the border of the raising line. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have her as a knight of the High Forest, but I think she's a knight of Furiandi according to publication. But for some reason, I put her in the Knights of the High Forest. I think it was campaign driven that I did that, just because she it worked well with because we were dealing with a lot of the Vespi, and she's right on the border of the Vespi. But she probably is a knight of Furiandi. But I only have two mentions of knights in all three organizations I've ever heard of, and they're both in the Markland set, and that's Charnalem and Serenol, who's the high elf with the who's got that moonbow thing, which I cut
Mhm.
that completely out of my gone. you know, they're not. We're not turning elves into. I'm sorry, guys. If I get anyone angry with this, I'm not turning elves into Middle Earth elves where they got to go somewhere. Sorry, it didn't happen in the first edition. It's not happening in the Carl Sargent books either. So, but there's only two that I have mentioned. I have another six named Knights of the High Forest in my campaign, and two of them are player characters and the rest are NPCs. So we always use them along the Valley of the High Folk and in the Vestry Forest in those combats with all the Ayas folk. So and then the King of Furiandi as well. So I don't know if any of you out there have used them a lot, but I loved utilizing them because that fighting with the Ayas was going on from the Ashes
Yes.
box set
That
all
was
the
the
time, right?
go-to.
Yeah. Yeah, I used them extensively
Yeah.
back like 20 years ago when we played through the wars and stuff like that. So yeah.
Not only did I use the Knights of the Heart in many IU's campaigns, but me and my friend also once did a jousting circuit
Mhm.
Nice.
between the three orders and the Knights of Shielding with full rosters and names and everything. I don't know where all that stuff went to, but we used to do a lot with the Knights of the Heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that in my Rel Devon campaign because they had yearly every growth fest. No, in the summer they had a tournament in Rel Devon. They used to have it for hundreds of years, so it was. And so I actually played it, and so they were there, and anyone could. They had like qualification rounds, so anyone could who had a horse and a lance and stuff could come and do it. So I even set up rules where you armor class you can normally you set up armor class in like third edition and Pathfinder, like you take 10, so you get like 10 plus your armor class. So instead you roll the d20, so you actually had a defensive roll as well as an offensive roll, so to speak, to make the combat a bit more kind of both tricky and interesting, so to speak. And you can get plus on the roll for your riding ability and a whole bunch of stuff. So that was kind of fun. So that was a really cool evening session when we did that. That was a lot of fun.
It's amazing that we all did jousting tournaments. All of us.
Oh yeah, you have to.
We did
You
it
have
multiple
to.
times.
You've seen Ivanhoe, and you just have to.
That's it. Ivanhoe. Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
yes,
Wow.
you have to.
Wow.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I've seen a lot of recreated tournaments they have in Europe. They have several of them in Sweden every year, and they had a place not far from where I grew up. Every summer they had tournaments that people who were reenactors and stuff came from all over Europe and battled
Wow.
themselves. Oh, it was awesome. And on Gotland, on the island of Gotland, they had a medieval week where they have outside of the city walls, they had a tournament at night with the torches and coal burning fires and stuff. That was amazing to play at, and we played in a tent or like a trailer afterwards. And that was so much inspiration. It was super cool. So yeah, so we've had tournaments and stuff. So Littleburg was in my campaign. Littleburg was the big tournament area in Foriundi. Every year in the fall, they had huge tournaments where they the new knights were if you won the tournament and you were good enough, then you came on the short list, so to speak, so you can actually join. And so every year there was like one knight or something that became a member of the Knights of the Heart, and the Knights of the Holy Shielding were there too. So and then you can challenge the knights and stuff like that. And if you manage to unhorse them or break their lance, then you can become a prospect member, so to speak. Then you will be on the list that you can be observed and might have a chance of becoming a member.
You know what bothers me about jousting in Greyhawk? Partially that it's like never mentioned.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and
true.
I wonder if that's because there's a constant state of war going on.
It might be, yeah, because in actual medieval world, I think that the tournaments were actually held after the knights were not used in the military anymore. That's when they became a legendary, more like a sports thing, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Gary didn't want to go the direction of Arthurian.
Yeah.
Which is I look at it as
but I can't resist it.
I
have
love
to have
jousting.
it.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
just
throw
have
this
it.
out there. I'm gonna throw this out there for 2020 because it's our 40th anniversary. And if you want to say yes or no, fine. If I do a jousting tournament sometime in 2020 on the stream, would you guys be interested in that? Because we used to
Yes.
do those festivals and tournaments all the time. It's almost all RP, and you have all the high level characters coming together. So would that be a cool thing to do? Probably the answer is probably yes.
Custom shields, heralds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
We haven't had one of those in a long time. So cool. Yeah, that's Casey brings up another thing with the size of nations and things like that. So
yeah, Gary has a good point that Divers was the viceroyal capital of the West. It was the capital of Ferrond, yes, of Ferrond when it was the yep. So and then after Furiundi became independent, then they broke off from Divers too, apparently. So yeah, so that's a very good point. Yep. So Divers has a glorious history and kind of the second biggest city, most important city in the Great Kingdom. So Rossies were the #1 city and Divers were the #2 city in many ways.
I have the figures, Jason.
Oh, cool.
I have the figures, and trust me. And we have with our deal with Reaper, I can get the figures too if we need them. I just need about 3 months for Build a Master Crafter to paint them. There's certain ones we don't have. So yes, the answer is we have a fair number of mounted figures. Our old Art Ralparthas, but I think we have enough. But yeah, I know. Okay, all right. So you got me for 2020. We'll do it sometime in the middle of the year because I got so much other things going on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike. Go ahead. My apologies.
I already forgot what I was going to say. That's how it goes.
Was it something about Divers?
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask if the Knights of the Heart, I'm assuming through like Prince Thrommel or something, were they in the Battle of Emerity Meadows?
I think they were. I don't think they were detailed specifically, if I remember, because I don't think there's that many stories, but I would be surprised if there weren't a knight present, so to speak, as a commander or something like that.
Right. Because, clearly they were coming, Furion and Valuna were coming there to help, but they never explicitly says, oh, the Knights of the Heart went down there to stamp it out, which seems like a missed opportunity, really.
Yeah.
That is that is just a momentous.
And we don't even know. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, we don't even know if Prince Thrommel were a knight or not.
Well, he's a king. He's King Thrommel in my game. Because,
okay. Well, then, yeah.
Because when you free someone in an adventure in Temple of Elemental Evil, he doesn't turn into a vampire in a future adventure, right? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I got a heart. Mike harped on this a while back on a previous episode, and I'm going to do it again. That we freed him in 1987, and he became king again, and that's just the way it happens in my campaign.
Yep.
So, and a lot of those characters that were in that adventure are friends of Thrommel, and he married Jolene, and it's just the way it went. And
and now we've talked about basically all the knighthoods that we mentioned that are part of the standard in the old text and stuff are kind of good or neutral, at least. Knighthoods, they're kind of classical, defend the nation, defend glory and the poor and all that. But then I was thinking, do we have evil knighthoods or at least bad ones?
The
And
Doom
there's
Knights.
one that I'm thinking about is sorry?
The Knights of Doom. I mean, they're evil.
Yeah, the Knights of Doom. Yes, they
Yeah.
become simply because the seven in the United Kingdom Melissa is kind of not openly evil, but they are certainly run by evil, greedy bastards. So that way. But I was thinking the Black Guard. I use Black Guard in some ways. I'm.
Black
It's
Death.
not that they are. Yeah, exactly.
Black
It's
Death
not that they
squads.
are a knighthood, but I play them very much like it, like some sort of elite force that has their own symbology, their own code and stuff like that too. So
It's a good
or
question. I
non-code, so
think
to speak.
I think there's a lot of assassins running around in those groups, and
Yeah.
that's not considered knightly, but
No, but they have to be the ones that go out in the battlefield.
They are shock
open-
troops.
Yeah, exactly. They're supposed to be out there meeting the enemy fair and square out in battle. That's one of the
If not
cornerstones.
them, then yeah, there isn't anyone.
Yeah, meaning they don't go out and murder people in their tents at night. Meaning they set up their banner and then they call for the enemy to come and then they fight them. That's kind of
I
the.
think they murder people in their tents at night too.
Oh yeah, but that's not nightly, so to speak.
Right, exactly, yeah. But
Yeah,
that,
you
I
have
mean,
to make sure the enemy is facing you and has a weapon and,
Yeah.
and at least the ability to try and defend itself. So, or him or herself. So yeah.
Casey, that may be the case on the Red Hand that they have a Hextorian
Yeah.
knightly order. That would be really cool if someone had
Yeah.
that written up somewhere, and if you
Yeah,
do
because-
have it,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be a very neat thing to have moving
Yeah.
forward. I mean, I would utilize it, particularly because I'm doing so much in the Shieldlands. I would
Oh.
definitely utilize that.
Yeah. And Jason Savoda said my dream comment today.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
I have a nightly order from the Horn Society. I was just going to mention them because that. Oh, Jason, you're
That
my
one
hero
makes
today. Yep, because
They're a
that's
little
awesome.
more
Horn
organized.
Society. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Horn Society. Yep.
But we do have some published ones we haven't even gotten to yet, too. Correct? We got a couple. We have, I think, 3 still.
Okay.
How about the
Oh,
Knights
yes.
of the Wow? Okay, 5 nights. That's they don't. So we don't because we. Okay. All right. So good night there. I know. You always have to go, Snafu. It's awesome, David and
Yep.
Leonard,
Good night.
and we'll see you soon. And thanks for. I'll see you tomorrow if you can catch the stream early again. The Knights of the Watch are. I didn't realize how huge they are. Pre-war 6,500, and
Yeah.
now,
Mhm.
my gosh! And also,
Yeah.
we never on my campaign never included Keeland as part of that. We always did Starrich, Grand March, Bissell, and Geoff. We never did Keelandish troops as part of the Knights of the Watch, but according to a lot
Wow.
of publications I see, they are.
Okay, but they run. But I guess that also depends because Keoland used to be bigger. It used to incorporate Grand March and Bissell
Right.
and stuff during the expansive period. So that I think is when
And
the
where I
Knights of
think
the
Jay's
Watch.
coming from is the purpose of the Knights of the Watch is to protect Keelan, so they should be on those fringe
Yeah.
runs.
Yeah, and that's where they stayed,
Yeah.
so to speak. When Keoland shrunk down, they actually the Grand Marsh and the Bissell were the kind of borderland provinces for
Right.
Shieldland, like for Keoland too. And then now they're run by the Knights of the Watch.
And I also found this interesting in the Living Greyhawk Gazette tier. It says that it was originally tasked with protecting those states from the barbaric Paynims and the Westerlings, the Bakloonish, not humanoids, according to this. Gary, did you rate this too? If you did, it's great. The Watchers. I'm sorry to kiss your ass there, but yeah.
Yeah,
no.
it's yeah. They well the
Oh, he did.
Baklooni.
He wrote it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And the Clooney, they came through the Thornboard Gap through Kit and up there. So yeah.
So it says the order's strongest bases of power can be found in Hook Hill and Grand March, Hawk and Geoff and Pelak and Bissell's, which is what we did in ours. I actually had I had an NPC in the early 80s. I'm talking 1980 through 82, and her goal was she was from Geoff, and she left the Order of Ulick early for us back in like pre-85, and left. She was high level, went and became one of the leaders of the Knights of the Watch out in that out there.
Whoop.
So, and that's going way back. So and once again, it was all because there was a shield that said Knights of the Watch on it, and there was a little about one paragraph in that glossography about them, and that was enough for me. So,
Yeah.
But I never associated with the Keeland at all, and that was one of the reasons. I'm sorry to get off on a tangent here, but that was one of the reasons why all those Keelanders ended up joining the Order of Ulick, because I didn't have them in the Knights of the Watch at all.
Okay.
Because I didn't. I don't think it mentions it in the original book. So, in the original glossography. But it seems like it's a cool organization, and then they had a break-off point. Did we go by that yet? Did it go by them, Anna?
No, I don't think so.
Here we go. Let me get on the shield here. All right, so it should be right after them.
We have one else more to talk about there that you want to do about.
We got a couple here. We still got a couple good ones.
Oh yeah,
so
there you have the Knights of the Watch.
This is an original. This is original from the original glossography, if I recall that shield.
Yes, yeah. I touched up the owl. I took it. I hand traced it and touched it up and put a bit more feathers and stuff here and there and so on. But it's a design clearly based straight from the original box. Yeah.
So it says, and this is new for Greyhawk, that a break-off group's Knights of Dispatch, and the Knights of Dispatch went to the humanoids for all the invasions. There's your Knights of Dispatch shield that you made, correct?
No, it's Hands of the Light.
That's Hands of the Light. Okay, that's another different one.
Yeah, it's a group of inside the Watch. I don't know the story, but it's something from Living Greyhawk.
Okay, so that's Hands of the Light.
It's Hands of the Light. I don't know the story, but if you dig into the LG material, you'll find it there. And I didn't do that design. Someone did for the LG campaign too. I just
does Dispatch have a shield?
I don't know. I haven't seen one.
I haven't found one, and I looked for it once. And I'm assuming if there's one, it's in Living Greyhawk somewhere.
They're supposed
now I want to have. This is map notes
together.
Yeah. Casey, Gary, Mind Crime. If you have a shield for the Knights of Dispatch, I'd love to add it to our. But it sounds like. That it was a sect, an organization that was not. They issued traditional rites of battle, often forming scouting and guerrilla bands, which makes total sense. So it says, though, at the bottom, both the Knights of the Watch and Knights of Dispatch share a common coat of arms and owl displayed argent. So maybe.
Okay.
But so they didn't change according to this.
So they have the same. Okay.
Yeah. So, Tim, hold on to that thought and stay on, because I want to go back to that created one by you for the East when we do like non-canon and how we developed them on your Knights of the Eastern Sun, because they drove me insane back then, which was a good thing. So I don't know if this was developed more like it's kind of very, very this organization's vague, right? I don't know if there's any in-depth writings on it anywhere, but it's like with 6,500, it's like almost like regular troops. It's right. It's not really that high level, as Gary said, that high level knighthood. So, but
quantity, not quality.
Exactly. Here's something I found very interesting. The knights are called vigils. But when they get to ascending in rank, they change their titles to names like Fantastic Beasts. So they can become Manticore, Hippogriff, or Griffin, or etc. That's pretty bizarre. Like the mid-level commander is known as the Magnificent Elder Gorgon. I did not know that either until I looked into here, so I'm actually learning some stuff.
Yeah.
So Dark Watch is also Knights of the Watch. Okay, it could be another.
Another shelter group, just like the Hands of Light.
The Knights of Malgari. who are a secret society that are like obsessed with the Rushmores.
I'm reading through Casey's here. This guy's very cool, Casey. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, was that third edition? It says note the PC did not have to have levels in a knight or a prestige class. I'm assuming that's what that was in third edition.
Yeah, I guess mechanically in third edition and Pathfinder, you can either
Yes,
just
Carlos, you're
let
right.
them have any. I would set it as they have to have certain abilities, meaning they have to have a certain strength, they have to have certain abilities, proficiencies with certain weapons, and then have equipment, armor, and stuff, or AC and stuff that are high enough. But you can also add, and I
Pass the
was
buck.
toying with the idea of having prestige classes for the Knights of the Heart and others. So you actually gain prestige classes that you gain very special abilities that hardly anyone else knew. So meaning you could learn tricks, and that's what I did. But I can mention it. That's what I did with Knights of Luna, and I also had other protective forces that Celine that were elven specialists. That's when I had the arcane archers. That specialty prestige class was only certain elves that they could be taught to be arcane archers. So they were
What a nasty third edition
yes.
class.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my
That
gosh.
one. Oh, but that fits so perfectly with the elven. Meaning, elves are very. They're not many. There are very few of them, so they have to be damn good, and they can spend 200 years to master their. So they can learn to do things that hardly no human can get to, so to speak. And originally, the class was only open to elves or half elves, I think, in the third edition, and originally in Pathfinder 2. So to me, that was kind of the perfect. So that's why I made that prestige class part of the elven defense of the elven realms, so to speak.
So Gary, where was that Dark Watch located? I'm asking.
It was the yeah.
He said that they were specifically against like Vecna, Kos, those. I was just curious
Okay.
if you had a location where yeah.
Yeah.
So Casey, I'm gonna if you guys want to indulge me at the end, I'm gonna go over what I do for first edition, second edition, because I have
Sure. Yeah.
I have the night classes, and I'll
Mhm.
show you what I've done to take those prestige class ideas and turn them into playable character classes. But we'll do that at the end,
Yeah.
because we want to get through all the canon. Make sure we have time to get through all the actual canon stuff first.
I agree here with Jason. I don't think I ever had a player consciously say, "Hey, I want to join Knights of the Watch, Knights of the Heart."
Really?
We had that one campaign, but we like said, "Hey, let's do jousting, let's do knights." So those characters were already like on the day of character creation, they were knights. It wasn't like
Interesting.
something that developed.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because we have always had cat players, and maybe it's just because our base is a knighthood, when they join other organizations, and I've had to deal with it a lot. So I've had to, and that's cool. I've had to deal with my Selenians as far as Night Watch, Knights of the Heart, and even the Knights of Holy Shielding, especially. That's the big one for me. That a lot of characters come from the refugees from the Shieldlands, wanting to go back and be knights in the Holy Shielding. That's a huge and Mark's whole Gradamus family is from the Shieldlands originally, and we'll definitely show that map because the ruined estate is actually on the map, Anna. So
Okay.
that you
Yeah.
put on there.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's cool. Probably found the Rushmores in Dreadwood. All right, that's cool. I was curious as to where they were, where they wanted to go. So
it's supposed to be a secret society. So I'm thinking the Dark Watch is amongst the regular watch.
okay,
And they just meet whenever.
That's good. I mean, I've never used them, and I'm glad to learn. Like I said, I'm learning a lot in this episode, which is fantastic stuff. I did like when Gary said how the Wild Coast got its name, it's because it was in between Keeland and Great King. I never knew that. It was like because that was the wild area, south of Greyhawk. I never knew that until tonight. So, at 40 some years of playing, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. That's awesome. I like learning stuff. I like learning stuff
Yeah,
about Greyhawk.
yeah,
I want to
this
be a
is- yep.
sponge, you know?
Back in the old Greyhawk chat rooms, those guys used to talk about the Sheldamar all the
Oh,
time.
I love the show.
Kind of rubbed off on me, I guess. That's why I started writing about Hull,
Mhm.
because I was like, well, those guys know everything about the Sheldamar. I'm going to write about something they don't know.
Yep.
And you've done such a great job on it too,
Right.
which adds to an area, adds a lot of
Mhm.
flavor
Oh yeah,
to another
it's
area.
it's awesome. Yeah. And I just try to assemble the geographical knowledge into a map. That's
I
so
could write a
I
show.
can't claim to be an expert on anything except maybe the geography of things. Yeah.
Gary, I could write a Sheldamar source book easily, but it would be
Mhm.
based on my campaign. It would be. I mean, I have
Yep.
so much. That's where we live. We live in. The campaign lives from Greyhawk up, Shieldlands, but everything else is.
And it's a travesty we didn't get a Sheldamar book that was like the Marklands. And
Yes,
I know,
exactly. That is, yeah.
absolutely.
Now that is lacking because most of the other core areas of the setting have these kind of elevated source books. Yeah. Mhm.
because if Ivid had gone to publication, then I think that would have been the next logical.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then
split.
have one for the Beclunish lands in the west eventually.
Yeah.
Would have been yeah. Mhm.
What I saw, I was looking through the Ivid unpublished booklet, and I was looking for knighthood information. It's all detailed on geography, and talks about geography. There's very little on organizations in that reference.
Now you realize why I think that's the best book ever, right?
Why?
Yeah, because it details a lot of geography and stuff in it. That
was
okay,
well,
gold mine for me. It's the best
it.
Greyhawk book ever written, in my opinion.
It's a shame.
Yep.
It's kind of like that hidden carrot that we have access to, and a lot of people don't even know it exists. So, which is cool and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that follow. And of course, GNA Live. All right. So,
Carlos has a knighthood.
Yeah, Carlos has an interesting. He has a very unusual knighthood created in the.
Are they halfling knights?
Probably halfling or gnomes. It's gnomes. Oh, and Gnomen Septum, right? It's your gnomes on all mounted gnomes, right?
Oh.
I bet you that's what it is.
They run.
So yes, exactly. It's a gnome group.
Right.
So that's so cool, Carlos. Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you're doing a lot better, man. Hopefully you are. Yeah, Stride going down. Nothing better than having Stride killed, and we had it happen twice in our campaign when we ran Ravenloft and we ran Ravenloft 2.
Playing at night in Ravenloft, that's like the ultimate challenge, isn't it?
That was great.
For a paladin.
Yeah.
That was such a great adventure. I love the way it was written. I love the style of it, and I was kind of when they moved it into a demi plan, I'm like, that's stupid. But once again, you don't have to have it go that way. So we got 2 left. One I love, and one I can't stand. Let me rephrase that. One I don't use at all. Mm-hmm. So which one do you want to do? Let's do the one I don't use at all first. How's that sound?
Yeah,
that's probably Luna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Knights of Luna, because I can't. The premise is. I'm sorry. There you go.
Knights of there's Knights and High Folk. Why doesn't Celine have a knighthood?
It does. I made one in 1982.
Yeah, but they have Knights of Luna, but they seem to be more of a political or kind of secretive intelligence organization.
So they're like not knights. They're like the Knights of Mithranor.
Yeah, exactly. They seem to be with the Melf in the leading role, so to speak. But the way and this is me taking a lot of liberties, but the way I saw it was that the Knights of Luna was the one that carried out the actual foreign policy of Celine. But Celine officially say that, we are neutral, we don't mess with anybody. But then they simply had that secret, but they did it in secret. They supported all the good ones and they bashed evil ones and stuff.
Very, very recent creation.
Yeah,
it came out from the ashes creation.
Yeah,
and it's one of the things I go, no. Because first off, we don't have Celine as isolationist in our campaign.
Okay.
Good.
So Knights of the Heart High Folk are part of the greater Knights of the Heart organization. Knights of Luna were created as a result of Queen Yolande.
Yeah, but there's a political reason for that, because Celine was never part of the Great Kingdom. High Folk were.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I see that as that's why they were shaped. The High Folk was because they were part of the Great Kingdom all the
Yeah.
way up to Perrinland.
Well,
So
anyhow, my observation is elves don't have knights.
yeah.
Knighthood.
Yeah. So for me, that meaning those elves
They're
or
just
half
topping.
elves and stuff, they simply because they were part of the Great Kingdom, they for hundreds of years, for like was it 500 years or 400 or 300 or some hundreds of years at least, and that meant that to me that was like being conquered by the Romans. You become part Roman
Yeah.
for a
Now,
while, like Britain and stuff. So
I don't know if this is the case, and please, living Greyhawkers, if this is not, tell me. But I have my friend Dungeon Meister, the French gentleman who does all this great artwork, and he has a lot of in his Living Greyhawk campaign. He always have these Knights of Luna turning sides all the time, being turncoats. And I really was like, well, that kind
I
of
don't have that.
it's all political. I was just making sure that this was not the case, or is the case.
Yeah.
Or is there stories
But-
about it? Because he has two instances where these elves are actually flipping and working with the Irish troops, and it really.
Oh, I don't have that at all.
I'm just.
No.
Heresy.
Yeah, I don't have that at all. The only thing was that in my campaign, I kind of went a little bit with the Celine neutrality or kind of isolationism because the queen didn't want to have to get her hands bloody, so to speak. So that's why she had Prince Bright Flame running the Knights of Luna and do all that in secret. So officially she could say that we don't have a policy that when we don't do this, and she could deny it, so to speak. And that's why I did it. Like many big countries do. They run operations they don't want to talk about, so to speak. So and Celine had kind of sophisticated that into to a higher degree than most other nations.
Well, Celine does get their hands dirty. They
Yeah.
just push their problem off on everyone else.
Yeah. But in
Well,
my campaign, I didn't do that. So they secretly supported very effectively
Yeah.
many different sides, so to speak, and they were but openly they didn't. So they didn't have any official embassies or emissaries or anything like that. They just went over and talked directly in secret, so to speak.
Melf's a fighter mage in my campaign, a little
Yeah.
bit of a powerful one, and related to
Mhm.
Yoland, and that is it.
Yep. That's what I have too. So
I
and he runs a
think
whole
Celine
network of them.
What's that?
would also go isolationist because of attrition. If you
Yeah.
think about how many things they've been involved in,
Yeah.
then I use flares up or whatever draft
And-
wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would want to stay out of
I
there.
have.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right, but I'm going to discuss. I'm not even going to discuss the Order of Yola tonight. I'm going to discuss my Elven organization and the theory behind it, and hopefully it's being published in Earth Journal this month. If
cool.
Christoph
Yeah.
tells me, I gave him an
Yeah.
article, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be in this month's Earth Journal about this organization, which
Yeah.
is predates them.
Yeah. The way I saw it was simply that it was a play that Yolandi and the other leading elves liked to play with the humanoids because the humanoids didn't understand better. So they were kind of, they played one official, and then so they kind of officially say no problems, you stay on your side of the border, we stay here, and nothing will happen. And then they kind of talked to the humanoids from a distance like that, and then they went over at night and killed a few other bastards when they did things. So they had one open policy, meaning chaotic, meaning you say one thing and you can do another thing. They're not binded by a lot of rules and regulations. They're way more pragmatic, so to speak. So yeah, and they wanted to Queen Yolandi to seem untouchable up there and not get her hands dirty like regular royalty and stuff. So yeah. And because she's kind of the leader of all elven kind, so they wanted her to stand over the whole thing, so to speak. So that was so it was kind of a symbolic gesture rather than anything real.
So it sounds like Carlos is going to have Luke Gygax on December 23rd, according to
Yes.
his.
Yep.
Dang, nice.
That's awesome, man. It's
Awesome. Yep.
Good to
So
hear.
ask about this. Ask Melf.
He was on Wizards of the Couch.
Yeah,
a week
I
or
haven't
two
seen
ago.
that one
It was pretty
yet.
good. It
Okay,
definitely was
great.
good.
Yep.
Absolutely. So it just doesn't. It doesn't feel like a knighthood, the Knights of Luna, as opposed to
No, I
the
don't
other
see them as a
knighthoods.
true
Yeah.
knighthood. Yeah, exactly. I don't see them as a true knighthood. They call themselves knights because they kind of act valiantly in many ways and so on. But I don't see them as I don't play them as a true knighthood like Order of the Heart or
It's more of an
the Shield or the
organization.
Watch. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's more like a political military secret organization that
Alright.
does stuff. Yeah, that's how I play them. But that's my campaigns. I can't say that
But
I
that's a
have.
good thing. That's, I mean, you're
Yep.
doing the right thing. You're playing it in your campaign the way you
Yep.
see it to be,
Yep.
and that that's what
And
we're supposed to do.
yeah,
Everyone does it a little differently.
Yep.
So, excuse me. What about now? This is from Dungeon 113. I think this is right before Eric Mona changed the whole way dungeons were being done. It's a dungeon polyhedron crossover. So this came out, and when we were running this is like I'm like, I need this. This is something that I can use in my campaign, and this article came out. Okay, it's called "Valor Is Our Blood." It says "Living Greyhawk approved." Right. It's all about the Knighthoods of the Holy Shielding, and it's like I said, it's in Dungeon 113. And it has about the prestige class of the Knight of the Holy Shielding. It has a lot of background on it, and actually has some good character development in it. Let me see how many pages it was. It was like 8 pages. And I took a lot of this because we had our Knights of the Holy Shielding, but I never had organizational. I had our player characters in it because we've used it so much.
What dragon number was it?
Dungeon 113. So, and
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And it goes over Katarina Walworth, Inko C, Franz Torkeep, and Lemenda Irmad. Those 4 characters are in here. Now, I want to give credit where credit's due. This, if you know this person, this article is by Rick LaRue. He wrote this. I don't know him, but
I heard the name, read the name somewhere.
It's very well done. Definitely. It's in 3rd edition, so like Leomanda is Fighter 2, Cleric 7, Knight of the Holy Shielding 4, which, so I back converted them to 1st edition. Oh my gosh, what a mess. So she's in my campaign, she's a 10th level specialty priestess of Heronius. And but I do have the Knight of the Holy Shielding class. I have 18. I counted. I wanted to see how many Knights of the Holy Shielding I had. I have 18 of them in my campaign, counting those 4. A lot of them are player characters, a lot of them NPCs, but the Knights of the Holy Shielding have had a special place in my heart just because of all the fighting going on in that area. And I know for you too, Anna, you have a huge amount of things going on in that area in your campaign as well.
Yep.
With the Knights of the Holy Shielding, and I know ours kind of branch off. You have yours,
or rather, I'm building up to it because we haven't adventured much there. But I was going to set my next campaign there, so I'm starting to build on it, so to speak. So this is why this is so interesting for me, because I will read and dig into it wholeheartedly the coming months.
Cool, Casey. That's cool. What I did was I took, and I'm trying to get him on. So if anyone has a connection to this person, Bruce Cordell, I want him on the show, one of the shows. I took his Bastion of Faith reference, which is, you said, can be placed in and around the crit wall area. I added a lot of those. So I added Mother Phala. I'm going to talk about these on our Sunday talk show. Mother Anna, Mother Phala, Templar Lugo from that. I added all those into the Knights of the Holy Shielding as well, from that Bastion of Faith reference, and then made a whole knighthood. And I haven't really organized it like the Order of Ulick or the other one, but there's a whole bunch of characters that I have in the Order of the Holy Shielding, because we do so much there. And I have factions within the Knights of the Holy Shielding and that go against each other. There's a lawful neutral faction that really wants everyone out that's not that should be in there, because there's tensions between them and the Order of Ulick people who are player characters, and also there's tensions on who should be running the Shieldlands. So, but I think there's the most diversity of this knighthood out of all of them, because everyone has a different story in the Shieldlands in their campaign. Because is the Shieldlands completely subjugated? Is it not? Or the Knights of Holy Shielding still exist? Are they on that little island? Are they? Is that all they have? Do they have crit wall? I mean, it's different in every campaign. Or did the invasions not happen at all, and they're still there fighting the Horn Society? Right. There's all different sorts of
various times. Yeah.
Yep.
Mike, have you used them at all?
Shieldlands?
Yeah. Or Knights of Holy Shielding, either or.
Frequently conquered.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, IOs, Horn Society, Bane Kings, always overrun. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, I went with the official called Sergeant kind of war. They being overrun and so, but they kept Crit Wall and the Scragholm Island and Walworth Isle, and so they kept the core, so to speak, and that's what happened in my campaign. Yeah.
Low point for the Knights of Holy Shielding is you having to go rescue their leader from
Oh yeah,
Dora Khan.
Homer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the oh my god, City of Skulls adventure.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
a bizarre adventure when they put it in. They said we're only going to have neutral characters go on this. If you look at the adventure,
it's not. Yep.
So, Anna, what did you? I know your changes are different and drastic. To talk about what you did with the Ordered Holy Shielding.
Not Holy Shielding. Yeah, I took them as they were kind of not superly organized, and I also got the brunt of IU side maneuvers, so to speak. So they got overrun most of the country, and but also that it's indefensible. It's just open land. So they got overrun simply that they couldn't. So they simply fell back to Crit Wall and the Scraggle Isle and Walworth Isle. Walworth Isle is out near Div, so it's kind of almost untouchable. So they basically hunkered down in the Crit Wall area, and now in my campaign is like 15 years later, and what they did was that they hardened. They learned their lesson, and they are now become they're like a good cult. They simply anyone who is good-hearted and want to fight, they come and teach them, give them a sword and armor, and teach them hard. And they also they change the whole society to become on war footing, so to speak. So they are very non-corrupt in a way, but they're also super dedicated. So they're now become a fighting force that is legendary in that area. And they also have Valkyrias and stuff. So they have started to use the knights that die. They can now become if they're paladins and priests and stuff that die, their souls become part of their swords and stuff. So they have various really cool, they're elevated, so they feel they have the gods with them, so to speak. So they have a strong Pelor Heronius. Mayahane is so they have a lot of female knights and fighters too under Mayahane, have become a factor, so to speak, and built almost a town with the stuff. So now they become a fighting force of many thousands that are probably some of the biggest thorn in IU's side, because they terrorize. So that's why IUs have actually taken the areas next to them, a Baron of Axport, and actually kind of made that a semi-independent, because they didn't want the Knights of Holy Shielding to conquer the whole area. So they are starting to take back territory, and IUs doesn't really know what to do with them, because they're hardened. They have a whole lot of high-level knights and priests and paladins and stuff. So they have become a completely martial. They're like Sparta in a way, meaning if you can't fight, then you have to take care of the kids or do latrine duty or whatever, and pay taxes. But if you can fight, then you're hailed as a hero of the land.
Jason asked if you had any of it written up.
Yes, I have some of it. I'm actually writing it up as of now, so it will be part of my campaign. And now that I know that it will be something that I can publish, so it will definitely be more of it written up and published. I will probably give it to my patrons first, and then it will go in the Orth Journal and on my blog and stuff later. So yeah, so it's coming. Yep.
So we've been burning through these quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'll say this about the Shieldlands and the Knights of the Holy Shielding. I know you made them a bit of a. Let me flip that map. This map I have. These maps I have up. I want to show a couple.
Oh
things
yes,
here.
I've seen it several times here.
Yeah, all right, real quick. Of course.
There you.
Nope. It's not up here either. Oh my God.
Yep.
How can I not have them up there? All right, whatever. I don't have it up. Oh my gosh.
Jeez. I can share it. I have it here.
So that's okay. I have a couple things where we put in. It's one of the most edited areas beside that, and in Prispatiolik and and Celine. Those three are the most edited areas that Anna's done for me, and we have a lot of. And we discussed that on the one, especially Jason will remember. A lot of locations on that map are actual module names from third-party modules, and I love that area because you can have it go any direction you want. With what's going on with the fighting between IUs, and I love the free weavers, and I use them a lot. And there'll be a lot in our discussion, our Gavin discussion this Sunday night. Will be, let me get my announced thing. Will be one of those big things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about hidden gem NPCs, and like Sharon Valinar is one of my favorite hidden gem NPCs. I mean, you're not going to know who she is unless you have the Eyes of Evil reference, right? So, it's just like there's so many cool characters there. I'm sure, no problem. Finally received your Wolves of Mercia card game. That's awesome to hear, man. Good to hear that you got that. So, yeah, and Mike's the old, definitely expert on that. And as far as you probably got a ton of great personalities in there too that you've developed yourself, and it's good to have them, And I know the Shieldlands have a ton of them out of those references, and that's a great thing. That and Furyundi has a fair amount of them in the Marklands book, and that creates more flavor in these knighthoods, I just wish that there were more named knights. Like, for example, in the Marklands book, they talk about Jansen, Reynald, and Harmon, Delavan, and Ringland, right? But that's it. They're the only two that I can find anywhere that are mentioned in that entire. I would think they would have more Knights of the Holy Shielding mentioned in that Eyes Evil or Markland set. And they're the only two I can find.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Now Archer de Jakarta is one, right? But originally from the, but he's a knight of he's a knight of the heart.
Yes, and we have a good question in chat. Guntaka has the castle in Strongo. Is that Castle Heart? And Castle Heart is along the Veng River on the Furyundi side, where the Crystal River meets the Veng. Cool. That's where Castle Heart is.
So, Mike, do you want to jump over to the discussion at Mind?
Minecraft talking
about Pharisees. You want to talk about that?
Pharisees? I really have never given them much thought until we were doing some research on this. To tell you the truth, I remember the Pharisees thing coming up. I don't know anything about the exalted ones, but I think Carlos has got it summed up pretty good there. That the Pharisees are like Ikber's knights, but they're like they stay there. They're supposed to be there to be a counter to the nomads. So like the nomad intrusion, they probably escorted them on the way up.
So it's meaning to defend Ekbir and Tusmit and stuff.
That's it.
Versus threats from the south. Yeah.
Whoever they are, or whatever country they're from, sound more like the questing type. Then.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Is there a lot of? And I don't know if Jason linked all that. Was there a lot of detail on that? Like
no,
very little.
Okay. Greyhawk, I don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, man. I thought I was prepared for this, and I'm like coming up for stuff, and I'm like, I don't have it. Where is it?
You're way more prepared than I am. I'm going from the top of my head here. Yeah.
Oh man, that's right. Carlos is sitting on a gold mine.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Carlos is sitting on that and Fireland too, right? So
yes, he's sitting on a lot of gold mines. Yeah. You have to come and raid you, Carlos.
No, but that's awesome. So I guess that's about all we can discuss as far as the Pharisees go. Yes, you discovered Whispers finally. Good to see. Good to see that you can do that too, man. I had to print something out because I couldn't find it. So, what do you think?
Okay, so exalted ones would just be paladins. Is that from Gary's Paladins article? Exalted Ones.
Yeah, and Exalted Ones was also a third edition book. There was one that was the evil ones, and then there was the Exalted Ones. Hang on a second, I'll see if I can find it in my
Because that's when I wondered. So there was two. Gary had two Paladin articles, which went into like Maya Hind Paladins, Merlin Paladins, Cuthbert Paladins, etc. Are Paladins knights?
No, Paladin's a
me.
class. Like, that is a good question, and like I can answer it in 1E, 2E, but I can't answer
Yeah.
it beyond that.
Yeah.
I think a paladin is a
Knights of
class.
Holy Shielding are supposed to be holy knights, right? So
They have
why
to
would-
be. In order to be a knight class that I have, you
Yeah.
have to be member of that organization.
they are
If you
religious
fail
groups.
to, now I have them printed. Oh, here they are. Okay.
Yeah.
If you fail to be, I have 3 of them. Let's go over that real quick. How's that sound? All right. I have 3 classes, 1E, 2E, that I made. And these are, I'm going to tell you, I ripped these off. These are based on the stupid Knights of the Rose Shield crown out of Dragonlance, okay? And then we did them in reverse, a kind of reverse engineer. And we have 3 of them. So these are 3 classes. I have Knight of the Holy Shielding, I have Knight of the Heart, and I have Knight of Ulick. Okay, all with special
Ooh,
abilities.
separate classes.
All
Okay.
separate classes. Okay. The experience table is worse than Paladin. It's kind of it gets really nasty about 9th level in old school. But I'll give you an example. So it's a hybrid of a cleric and a paladin, or a cleric and a good cavalier, whatever you want to make it. But it's more 1E based. It's not cavalier based. It's more fighter based. They get specialization. They get special abilities. Okay, and then they get spell list. So it's a really hybridized class. They have to be a member of that organization upon attaining 4th level. If they at any point get kicked out or lose their status, they become one of the following 3 based on their background and statistics in our game: fighter, cavalier, or Saxon, which is a foot knight. They lose. They're not paladins. So it drops back to one of those 3 classes, depending on where their background comes. I'd say a majority of them are going to turn into just fighters. So. But they get spells, they get wisdom bonus, they get specialty priest spells based on their deity. For example, the Knight of the Holy Shielding, Heronius is the main one. Guys, I'm sorry, it's old school, but I have Ilmater in there as well because the Gradavises worship Ilmater, and then they got some abilities from 1st level up to 9th level, like increased effects from EUs, some spells out of the Bastion of Faith. So it works. I like, we have a lot of them being utilized. Knights of the Holy Shielding. That's Ulick, 1 or 2 Knights of the Heart. So there you go. It's first edition class. It works well for our campaign. I would be more than happy sharing with anyone because that's,
Cool.
not sharing. Absolutely.
Tim has a very good point in chat that in the old real world medieval feudal system, a knight was someone who was given the purpose of the kings and lords. They had knights, and they knighted warriors and gave them horse and armor and stuff in order to defend a certain area, and to that was and he was kind of a retinue that was given that position, and that was his job to defend, and often they were given land and so they can live on and stuff like that, and then they swore fealty to the Lord that they will defend and show up and fight for him
Nice.
if asked for, so to speak.
Yes.
And in return they were given land and armor and horse and some sort of retinue, I think it was called. There's a certain amount of money they got for doing the job, so to speak.
Gary brings up a good point. I mean, a paladin paler could be a knight protector, holy shielder.
Mhm.
I agree 100%, but not all.
Yep.
I think the question was, not all paladins are knights, but all
Exactly,
knights are
yeah.
knights.
Some of them could be adventures.
Absolutely.
And that's into the way I see it is that classes are a mechanics thing. It doesn't exist in the game, so to speak. in the game, you can be a warrior and you can have many different classes. As long as you can wield a sword or weapons and stuff, then you can be seen as a warrior. And
Yep.
you can even be a ranger and be a knight if you want to.
Absolutely.
If you can come and be good enough and in the field, so to speak, and you can beast one of the one of the knights and in combat, and you can show your worth and your mettle, then and you have a good standing character wise, and you can pass all the, because it's also kind of a spoken test. You have to be able to speak for yourself and act valiant and noble, not only on the battlefield but also in discussions and stuff like that. So you have to be able to speak for yourself and speak to people and have a presentation and stuff like that. So
Does anyone know what Guntaka in questions is asking about? An on-wall knighthood that's in a dragon. A dragon. I don't know about that. About that one.
It might have been like some prestige class, maybe, that was made
yeah,
for
but Onwell had some.
Jason was
some,
actually posting a bunch of these smaller
Yeah,
Knighthoods up.
exactly.
Yeah, that was all about feudalism, though. Is it knights?
But earlier there were a whole bunch of
Yeah.
knights mentioned,
Feudalism
and-
is be knights, Laris,
and they were tied to it, like dwarven knights and iron.
So, Mike, have you ever created any on your own?
Knighthoods?
Mhm.
Yes.
Cool. Why don't you talk about it?
Way back in the day of junior high, when
That's
Tony
awesome.
was better. Everything I knew about knights was from the movie Excalibur.
Oh,
We had a knighthood called the Gold Dragons. Very imaginative, right?
mm-hmm.
And that, interestingly, was once my friends had conquered the entire Flan AS.
That's okay.
Then they created their own order of knights, the Gold Dragons, and I think they were like, there were several different like subsets, and they were out of different countries. So like all the other knighthoods had been wiped out, and this was all that was left.
So, was it Order of the Gold Dragon? Knights of the Gold Dragon?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
You should bring them back.
Yeah.
What's weird is back then when I had more like energy and time, I kept meticulous notes more than I do today.
You have to keep notes because you got to get the lists like this. They're
Not
like
good at that.
it's a page and a half of so you got to do it.
But
of
to have
members.
a dragon knighthood, gold, that sounds to me.
Glaives. Yeah, the glaives. Sorry.
Yeah, but it sounds to me very plausible in a world where there actually exist dragons. I think it's
Right.
it's a symbol of power and might. So I can totally think that it's a good move, so to speak, a natural thing to have, to use dragons as
It's a deer.
to have a knighthood of the golden dragons seems to me an obvious choice. So,
How many members did they have? Because I know nothing about them as far as that. I was dragoned out by 293. Was there a lot of dragons in that organization? It was like a half dozen, or I'm just curious if anyone has the information on it. But I loved. I thought it was great that it was so wide open that you could do things like, wow, can create our own knighthoods in Greyhawk.
Mm-hmm.
There's room to do it, and
you really went
full tilt. So Carlos asked a question. I want to answer it. The Order of Ulick. Okay. I'm not going to go into details here. I've done it a lot in my talk shows. We won't do that. 211 current members, or there's been 211 approved members that are either of level 6 and higher apprentice. Now, some are dead, some are retired, but there's a fair amount, and a majority of them are player characters, guys. So, yes, it's pretty disturbing when you think about it. That many, but you have to be of good alignment, Carlos, number one. Number two, you have to have a reason for joining, whether it's to thwart evil or to fight IUs, or because remember, there's different areas of influence depends on where you are. So if you're in the Principality Ulick area, you want to be, to protect the border from Ayus, for example, or from the Pomars, I should say, on the Jewel
Yeah.
River as an
Mhm.
example. And then you get to join at 6th level. You officially can be joined as an apprentice. You can't make Lord status, full Knight status to your Lordship, which is 8th and I'm sorry, 9th in a lot of classes, but 10th in some other classes. There are no class restrictions in the Order of Ulick. It can be any class that allows a good aligned character. It's just the way we've done it from day one. For
Yeah.
variety, we don't
Mhm.
all paladins
So
run
you
around.
okay? So any class could
Class,
be met. Yeah.
any
Mhm.
class, and
Yeah.
we have Anna's character who finished up
Yeah.
on Thursday
Mhm.
night is 5/5 Ranger Mage, and
Mhm.
now that her lifelong goal of tracking this Alexandra the Outcast is done, she figures she's going to stick around in Altamira and hang out with Arathorn and Arcturus, and why not petition to join the Order of Ulick? So Anna's
Mhm.
character from Thursday
Yeah.
night, who's 5/5, when she turns 6, will officially be put in as an apprentice. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah.
Does that answer your
Mhm.
question, Carlos? Because it's not a difficult thing because the entire campaign's based around it, right? So it's not hard. But we've had fallen characters who've fallen out of the Order of Ulick, have turned neutral. We've had that happen. We've had
Mhm.
happen to player characters, particularly most of Walt's characters, who are very transient mind-wise. Sorry, Walt, if you're on. But yeah, thank you. So um, well, that's a good another good question. But let's talk about Anna. How about you as far as creations? I know you
I
want to do
know
something
I
in Horse
haven't
Society.
created any new ones, but I've tweaked a lot of the ones that are there, so to speak, from Knight of the Heart to especially Knight of the Holy Shielding and the Knights of Doom and the Knights of Luna. I've tweaked them to fit my campaign style, so to speak. So they still have the primary purpose they have officially, but how they actually execute it and their kind of code and stuff. It's kind of I have tweaked that to some degree. Yeah, or both expanded and tweaked. Yeah.
I, I know you love the Horn Society so much,
Oh
and I know
yes. Yeah. So
Jason's working on something in the Horn Society. Maybe you
yeah.
should collaborate with him and
Yeah,
get
because
something.
I had something that
Yeah,
was
that'd be
not
cool.
codified enough, but the Horn Society had a whole bunch of almost knights, but their knights were in effect that they had to swear allegiance to the netherworld, so they became death knights because or something similar. Both IUs and Horn Society has that. So you basically swear allegiance not to a human lord on this world, so to speak, but you become it's the way I saw death knights was like anti-paladins in a way. So you were human to begin with, or some sort of campion or something like that. So some of them have various weird blood to begin with. That's why they probably looked up and wanted to serve in that part of the world, because that was the only ones that that didn't shy away and try to kill them or bully them or ran them out of town, so to speak. So that's why they ended up in that place. So they were born there. So but they so what the ones that were really exalted and the top line fighters, so to speak, that will be the equivalent of the Knights of the Heart, so Knights of the Holy Shielding, they became some form of death knight, so to speak. Some of them were not undead, but they got the abyssal template. They got various forms of special abilities like dark vision
Like
and
Wardu, kind
sorry.
of
Yeah, exactly,
Wardu,
like Wardu. Yes.
kind
Yeah.
of an
Mhm.
altered
Yep,
human.
exactly. That's the so I had various forms of it, and since the in my campaign the Horn Society were more kind of near old neutral
Mhm.
evil, and so that's how I played them. So they had a lot of connections to that part of the f- fiends, so to speak, that were neutral evil. So demons and various other
Memes.
stuff. Yeah, so that's how I played them. So they didn't have an organized knighthood, but they were the equivalent of knights, so to speak. They were hailed as the primary guardians of the Horn Society and their club and spear, so to speak. So the Horn Society troops were led by a bunch of these. And one of the things that we did back in the day was my players always have a test to see if he was a really evil bastard, was that if he took off the helmet, the horns were still there. So that was the hallmark of a real true enemy, was that when he took off the helmet, then the horns were still there. So that was the joke we always said, that, oh, is if he takes off the helmet, can you take off the helmet? They always yelled at and taunted and say, so they could see if he was a real enemy or not. And then they heard some of the opponents heard that story so many times. So when he came up, he actually took off the helmet to prove that he had the horns sticking out of his from his head, from the skull directly. And my players were like, "Ooh!" They finally did that. So that was kind of funny. So that was one of the things we did back in the day. Yeah, that was fun days.
So we have a question from Casey about how do you know someone's not good anymore. Casey, the instances I was discussing happened in the course of gameplay, and one of them was an obvious fallen paladin situation where you know that person is no longer lawful good because of what happened during the campaign. During the adventure,
murder hoboing you or something.
Well, no, it's a long story, but this person succumbed to an organization that was meant to tempt men to their two evil ways, and he fell for it, and he never got his paladinhood back, and just became a cavalier.
Yep.
And then when you have a player character say, basically their character, I don't want to be part of the Knight Order of York anymore, well then you know. I'm not doing this anymore.
But
and then
that's what I do often in my campaigns. I tempt my players by if they can go on murder hoboing. It's perfectly allowed in my campaigns, but you will not join a knightly order.
Maybe that's why my friends have never joined Knighthoods. They just go straight to the murder hobo.
Yes, yep. I've had players that go on the murder hoboing spree too, and that means that you're not going to be in a knightly order. So it can be kind of boring or too regulated, I think, for most players to be it's too much of a real soldier life, meaning there's a lot of orders and you can't do this and you can't do that, and you have to do boring stuff, and you can't kill whoever you want any way you want when you feel like it. It's not up to your emotions. It's you actually have duties to follow, so to speak.
My friends want the castles and the armor and all that fun stuff, but they don't want responsibility.
And they want to go out and kill for it. So
So I wish Brian Blumklotz was on, because I wanted to give him a kudos of what he had me think about as far as knighthoods go.
Yeah, I have to take a break and take out a little mini.
No problem. No problem.
So you continue. I'll be back.
So this is, I want to bring this up for anyone who doesn't know this, and that picture is the Order of York collar chain. So he got this idea from collar chains of knighthoods in Europe, and he said, well, I'll make your organization a collar chain for ceremonial purposes when you're inducted into the knighthood, and each one represents organizations and alliances. I thought it was a really great idea.
Cool.
And I was like, can you, hey, develop this? And that's what he made. I thought it was awesome that he did it for us. And I'm saying thank you. But it's really cool to have something like that made, from scratch for us. So neat stuff. Absolutely. I like how Tim disciplined his freedom. That's funny. That's military talking for you. So how do you make a knighthood, homebrew knighthood? I'm going to, if it's okay, Mike, I'm going to talk about this picture I have up right now. I'm going to stop it right here because I want to talk about my organization, not the Order of York, but another knighthood I have. Okay, and this knighthood goes back to the 80s. This predates the Knights of Luna by, I believe, a decade. And it's called the Selenian Sisforest Knights Watch. Okay? This organization was very limited in its scope. And Goon Taka, you asked, is something coming in the Earth Journal? This is my article for the Earth Journal for this one, and here it is, the Selenian Sisforest Night Watch. You can see that's the symbol up. Another symbol created by Brian Blumklotz. Thank you so very much. How do you form a knighthood? Well, you got to have a reason. In my opinion, you need a reason for it, and you need something that's not overlapping with an existing organization. So back in the 80s, there was no knighthood in Selene. Selene was not isolationist. This is pre City of Greyhawk box set even. This is way back when all you had was glossography. It always said that there were humanoids running through the sus and nothing was stopping them, right? And always, that was one of the things it said running up from the Pomars. They were always raiding in Selene. I said, well, why isn't there some kind of organization, and not just an organization of rangers? And the Arcana just came out, so everyone were cavaliers back then. I remember being an elf and a cavalier was a thing of prestige according to Arcana.
You didn't go barbarian when Unearthed Arcana came out?
Well, not for elves. It was just humans for barbarians, right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of barbarians too, but they were all from the Frost barbarians.
Yeah.
As you saw last Thursday, you were venturing with barbarian last week.
Yeah.
And you were venturing with the son of King Hungred last week too.
Oh,
that's he was a fighter though. So what I did was, it's limited in scope. There's only 12 members allowed, period. So it's very limited. They are tasked with patrolling the Susfar's border along the Jewel, that area up through to Welkwood and south. And they're not meant, they will fight, but they're meant to report for the most part. And I have a listing of all 12 members. So I have it all written up. Okay, all 12 members. There are 9 full Grey Elves, because I have Selene as a Grey Elven society over High Elves. 2 are half elves, and there's 1 human that they give as an honorary position for the relationship of humans with elves, because we're not isolationist once again. So, and 1 member for the Welkwood, which is a Grey Elf. Now, tomorrow night in my adventure into the depths of the Sus, the 2 Grey Elf and they're both Cavaliers the adventuring party tomorrow night will meet Baron Desley, who's of Cartris, and Lady Zeltrogil of House Ronal. They'll meet those 2 tomorrow night. So that's why I wanted to discuss it. And that's the organization I did. And we've had them, and they work with the Order of Ulick. They work with the Order of Ulick and Selene. It's always been that way from day one. And that's when the Knights of Luna came out in the From the Ashes box, and I'm like, no. I already have something, and they're not isolationists. And that's just my personal campaign. Now, Tim created, Jay, you really use Cavaliers. I do, because, well, if you look at this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Cavaliers out of 12. There is 1 fighter, there's an archer, there's 1 ranger, 2 rangers, 3 rangers, and there's an archer ranger. So those are the classes. Why do I use Cavaliers? I saw Cavaliers as the in-between between Paladin and Fighter, right? I saw a Cavalier as, especially when they gave him, and I'm talking about, guys, the Dragon Magazine Cavalier. I hate the Unearthed Arcana Cavalier. The Dragon Magazine Cavalier had that flexibility. I think it was Dragon 72.
Is the improved
Gary Gygax one. It had rules for elves in it. Elves and half elves. It had their rules for had the bows. It had, it wasn't as rigid as the one in the Unearthed Arcana, and that's when we based all of this on, was those Cavaliers. So, Cavaliers are basically nobility. So,
yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay,
Jason,
Carlos. Unapologetically, he's fine, man.
It was so fun when Jason wrote that I burned my Unearthed Arcana in front of my players. Not really. that's cool. That was funny.
I understand that, but that's just what I did with. I can't wait to. There's a whole background. Goes back to what I call the Sorrowful Wars, how it was formed. It's a whole history on it. It's about 2.5 pages.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to you guys reading it. So look for that in the next search.
Yeah. If you wonder what's going on, I have a familiar that is kind of malfunctioning right now, and
That's
she's
okay.
barking and whatever. She has food, and I've just been out with her, but if she starts making noise.
Yes, Frank. Hey, good to see you, Frank. I love those Cavaliers. I like the I like the weapon proficiencies and specialization system in the Dragon Magazine over the rigidness of the Unearthed Arcana version. I think we liked the flexibility, and that's what we liked. And I haven't done many shout outs tonight. So who's on? So guys, there's Aaron's Patreon.
Oh, thank you for
shouting it out. Patreon. Yep. Frank just hopped on. Will was on. Okay, and Carlos. I know Carlos is on here. I hit you twice. Yes. Okay, there you go. All right, so guys, please, they all have Twitch channels. Please give them follows. Please check out Aaron's Patreon. I apologize if I missed you if you've been on. I really do. But I'm just looking here to see. I think I got everyone who's been on. If you've been on, just let me know, and I'd be that's
Got a lot
got a
of
Twitch
stuff to
channel.
keep track of.
It's a lot, man. But I love partnerships with all these channels. It makes it
Yep.
more special. That we got a lot of Greyhawk content coming now, really in broadcast. And
Yeah.
guys, Will had last night his low fantasy magic game in Greyhawk. He started
Oh.
that last week. It's pretty cool. So Tim made the question was Eastern Knighthoods. Tim, who's on the ever mysterious Tim, made the Knights of the Eastern Sun, and they were all dragon riding cavaliers, and they were the gem dragons,
Ooh.
Good Lord.
and they were freaking nasty. And I think they were an
Mhm.
offshoot of the Great Kingdom. Tim,
That
they were a Great
makes
Kingdom
perfect
offshoot.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Solnor
The
Ocean,
f-
the ocean of the sun is in the east, so it makes
Yeah,
perfect
and they
sense.
were yes, they were. It was a Great Kingdom offshoot pre-wars again, guys. So we fought them in 1987 down in our trip to Mark's sister's house down in Alexandria, Fairfax, Virginia, back in the day. I told that story before, and it's cool, and it's good that he did that, and I have two organizations, so it's not hard to make, but I'd say give yourself some rules. Make a limited scope, make a reason for having them, and make it not easy, easy to join. Like, for example, in order to become a full knight status in order of you could be ninth level, but that doesn't mean you're automatically a knight. You have to go on a knight approved adventure. A lot of them are campaign based, like things thwarting evil that I set. So that's how once you go, oh, I made ninth level, now I become a knight. That's not the case. You
That's fine.
got to do an adventure of some sort. Yeah. So thanks, man. I mean, I hope you guys. I mean, I've learned a lot on this show.
Me too.
I've learned a
Yep.
boatload of stuff I
Mhm.
didn't know,
Yep.
and and you guys are just throwing information at me, throwing it, and that's. I hope you guys get as much out of it as I am getting, because I really, like I said, I have a gap.
I've got a and thanks to Jason and Gary and a whole bunch of others in
Casey and
Casey and other in chat.
David
You've been
and-
awesome and
and
you're always awesome. But
Mind
tonight you're
Crime.
more awesome than usual.
Really.
Yep.
I'm getting a lot of data from you all, and we need to get
Yep.
you guys involved more in
I
these
still have some.
shows.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we really do. So in
So
closing,
should we talk a little bit about what we're up to?
oh yeah, we got that. I was
releases
just saying,
and
in
stuff.
closing for
Yeah.
for the knighthood discussion.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
I actually had one more question.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, we
go
got
for it.
time.
Yeah.
All right, City Greyhawk, domain of Greyhawk.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have knighted people in there, or
Fake
I-
nobility titles they
or
purchase, right?
there's a lot
Well,
of sirs?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, in my campaign, they have titles, and they have several titles. They have you have a Landgraf of Celinton. That's one of the titles that the Burgomaster, the mayor, comes with being a mayor, so to speak, and then he can
Yeah.
they can assign certain of
Finest
them.
towns money can buy. Sir
Yeah.
Robilar was what I was going to leave.
Exactly, you buy
Sir
lordships that and that's simply just titles you
He's
buy.
referred
That-
to as Lord Robilar in just about every other source, though, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. So what in my campaign, you simply you pay them 10,000 gold or something like that, and then you become lord. And
the
and
head of the Lawyers Guild is a Sir Anton.
yes, exactly. That's the thing. All guild masters, because
Yeah.
they are the ones running it. So if you're on city council, you're automatically a
Yeah.
lord. And if
And
you and the,
Sir Bluto.
yeah, so
The-
all
the
the
Dorms.
guild masters become lords if the guild
Yeah.
is powerful enough, meaning if the guild can bribe themselves into a power position to become part of the city council, their guild master automatically becomes a lord, so to speak. And
I
Political.
would
it's
say in the eyes of the other knightly orders, they are fake knights.
exactly,
say
they're
so.
not knights, they're just lords, like whatever, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're not even nobility, proper nobility. They're just
They're more or
they can
less.
put lord that works there, but they're not proper I mean landed or
Because I always wonder that, because in the original
Yeah.
box set, in on with all the
Yeah.
shields. It says Sir Robilar.
Oh,
So I
exactly.
always wondered, well, who's Sir Robilar? Is he a knight?
No, I just say he was someone who had money and
Yeah.
and
And he
purchased
has
some,
his own shield.
yeah.
You
And
know,
I also have it that you don't own land meaning the city of Greyhawk, the council, they control all the land formally, so to speak. And then if you want to be a lord, then you can simply say, I give money, a whole bunch of money, and then you can simply say, I want this little area over here to be lord over that. And then you purchase amount of money, and then you become lord over that. And if you want your kids to be, then you have to give them a hell of a lot of more money, then it can be more
Greyhawk is about
formalized, so to
making
speak.
money.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's all about it's all about greed and corruption that way. That's how it's being run. But then you have in like Furiundi or back in the Great Kingdom days, then it was inherited things, and that's why I have the Knights of the Heart. It's not inherited. That's an organization
Right.
for protecting the realm, meaning you want the best knights, whether they are born from high nobility or not, so to speak. So they didn't have any direct political power, but they had a lot of sway morally and so on, because knights actually they could go out and talk to people and so on. So they can often get political power down the line by being knights, so to speak. So it was a way of if you were really good enough and powerful enough and so on, then as a knight, then you might be lorded and nobility down, and especially if some noble family died out, then they took a knight and said, now you run this and become a baron or a
So
landgraf or
needless
whatever.
to say, Lord Robilar's land is up for
Purchased.
grabs. Yeah, it's
Yes,
been
yeah,
bought.
exactly. It's now up for grabs.
He's not
Yes,
on the right
because
desert now.
yeah, exactly. So that
In your
land that he
game,
used to have is it's up
Right.
for grabs.
if you run
So
expeditions to the ruins of Greyhawk, he's back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
completely back in my game, according
Yeah,
to
in
what
my game
happens in
he's
that
not.
one.
So yeah, so so you can actually go to city council and say, I have 25,000 gold pieces. Can I
He could have come back and
can
that's
I
all
come
gone.
back and can I claim that land? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they simply they put the lotsmen and they go out and kind of advertise for people because they want money. That's part of filling the coffers of the city.
Yeah.
And that also gives you a chance to if you purchase a house for a lot of money in the city and you have it, then you have to purchase a whole bunch of and so titles comes with certain things. If you want to live in the city in high quarters, for instance, then you have to pay a hell of a lot of money and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of and then you can demand and say that you want to put a prefix like a sir or ma'am or something like that in front of it. So yeah. So in my campaign, it's all about the money. So yeah, it's all fake
All right.
titles. Yeah.
So that's all I was going to bring up.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Thunder.
how I yeah.
Last question of the night. Thunder Bay asks: Are there any fallen knights? Are there any like Lord soft types? And I don't know of any. Someone put down. Did Jason put down Lord Plankton? I'm assuming that that's a joke, Jason, but it could be. Are there any living Greyhawk fallen knights? I mean, I had Emerson Winchester III, fallen knight and Cavalier,
Oh.
Cavalier Paladin. He's the one that fell, and he became a Cavalier, and he never could get his Paladin status back. He didn't care, so he ended up a Cavalier, but he redeems himself in the end.
Yeah,
He dies, saving David Gradavis, Mark's character in an adventure.
Saint Kargoth and the 13 Fallen.
Oh yes, Kargoth is the king of the Death Lord of the Death Knights. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. There's a whole bunch of them, all the original Death Knights of Great Kingdom. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. That one goes back to the Saints article by was it Scott Benny? I think.
Yeah.
Good one. Real good. Real good. Were they Knight Protectors? I'm assuming they were.
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Yep.
I kind of took the heart out of them.
Yeah.
Kargoth was probably the best of them. I think he was supposed to be in line to like be the lead of them, and when he didn't get it, he got butt hurt, and he went off the deep end when he didn't get picked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
What a discussion tonight, guys. All right, let's go to over Anna. What's going on? Let's go. What do you got going after post PAX?
Yes, I published today in new preview with the update on the 576 map, and it's about 80% done. So it's actually it's fair. So my goal is to have it done by Christmas.
Awesome. That's it.
Yep.
That is
That's
it.
it.
I mean, normally, wow.
Yeah, so that's what I've done so far. Yeah, I've done some other stuff that is non-map related and non-Greyhawk related, so we don't have to go through them here. But that's what I've been. Oh yeah, thank you,
Oh my God, yeah.
Mind Cream. Yep.
Mind crime. You know, I mean, just you'll see tomorrow night on the map for my prelude. All the added stuff in Southern Celine from Anna on the map. There's got to be 8 or 9 locations on there, from
Nice.
Lightning Rod Tower, Tim, to Ranger Hold, to Golden Tower, to Altamira. They're all right there where we're going to be on the map tomorrow, and it's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't run any games currently. Thunder Bay, you asked if I'm not running any games, but that's part of my New Year's resolution, and that might be so. So I plan next year to run at least 3 campaigns in setting Greyhawk. Yes, over the
Oh
year.
my gosh.
I will run 2 games, regular games, one online and one around the table. That's what I plan to do, and I'm also going to uh, run a game in the D&D in a castle next year in England, and so that I have to write a special adventure for that, and that will be something that my patrons will get a chance to look at before, just after I've run the game in England. I will present. There will be some special maps, and there will be some other special write-ups and stuff for that adventure.
Cool.
And I have some ideas from it, but it's not something I want to talk about yet because it's not finalized, because I don't know what criteria they will have. So I have a couple of different scenarios I'm going to choose from. But one of my campaigns that I will run, either the online version, I think it will be the online campaign, will be set in Shieldlands in 598. So it will be set in what used to be Shieldlands, but in my campaign, it's now the barony of Axport. That is kind of a semi-independent realm under Ayus, because Ayus is economy, so he needs to restructure. So he's hardening his inner borders, and then he's doing these kind of semi-independent realms to get back a little bit of the connection to the rest of the world, so to speak. So he's not totally shunned, and that will be the realm where I will set the adventures will start in a small village in the barony of Export, not far from Critwall. So it will be a place where there will be Knights of Holy Shielding, there will be local bandits, there will be Ayus people, there will be dragons, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah, so there will be in between. So they will basically be up for the players, whatever direction they want to take the campaign. So it will be in the beginning, it will be a little village and what happens there on the borderlands between the evil and the good, and everything. So I have a whole bunch of backstory that I'm developing for, and the little village is called Aldet. And it was a village that was actually in the way between Axport and Critwall, that was a stopover with an inn and a little bit of agriculture and a well and a little bit of that. And there was also a salt mine that was part of the in the hills. There actually salt, so they found out salt there. So that's one of the, so all that was a stopover with the salt mine and a few farmers just to keep them alive. So that was all the pre-war, so to speak. A small little dull place where it just existed for a few people earned their living, and then the war came and most of them were killed. But then the economy are slowly coming back, and now they're in the borderlands. They used to be in the heartland of Shieldlands. Now it's actually a little village in the borderlands between Shieldland and barony of Export and Ayus. So it's kind of an interesting place to grow up. So I'm going to have my players, their characters, grow up in that area. So we will start them being teenagers and no class levels at all, and we're going to
Nice.
start it up there. Yeah, that will be the one.
Cool.
The campaign that I run around a table will probably be a little bit different, but we'll see. I might run a bunch of one shots here and there too, thinking of actually having the players or the characters be merchants, and they or the guardians of a merchant campaign. or merchant caravan that is going into IUs to trade and then go back out again. So that's one of the other that will actually go to export and go inland to trade. That's another one that I'm having. And I'm also thinking about going back to Rel Devon and that area that I've detailed, because there's so many loose ends to kind of tie into. So that's another area I'm thinking about adventuring in.
Awesome.
So those are the kind of the things that I'm also want to always go back and adventure in the city of Greyhawk, but I will probably wait with that for some years
This is
until
what
I've
I'm
detailed. Yeah. Oh, cool.
What's that? What are you doing there?
My every other Saturday, I'm
Flip.
running City of Greyhawk for 2 of my friends.
Awesome. The original box set?
It's just a big. I've ran so many City of Greyhawk campaigns that now it's just like a hodgepodge of everything.
Cool.
What I'm doing currently is they have purchased a tower in the river quarter, and I sprung on them last session that they have a bricked up secret door in their cellar, and they went exploring and discovered a portal to the plane of shadow.
Wow. Ugh. That's scary.
Wow.
How do they know the portals to the plane of shadow?
They don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that and your normal campaign in Saltmarsh, you're doing those.
Well, they know they're on another plane actually, because when they went up, there was no city; it was just a endless plain of gray. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what level are they?
About 8th or 9th.
Okay. That's sort of like they're not first. They're like, what is this?
Yeah.
That's super awesome. So is that what you're doing that and Saltmarsh back and forth?
Yeah, the Saltmarsh thing. We just finished up the final enemy. That was really fun. We had a big old battle last Sunday, and now the last 2 adventures in that book is Tamarot's Fates and
The Junction Magazine
the
artworks.
Styes, I think.
The one on the island. That's Tamarot's Fate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll eventually run those, but we can cover that some other time.
Well, we can cover that next week.
Right.
All right. So counting tonight, we have 5 streams in the next 6 nights, which is insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
Everything's falling, like all the stars are aligning here. So just want to say it was great having Anna in the house in the basement. As she said, I'm going to be Jay's basement.
So much
we
fun.
had to
that was
elaborate
awesome.
on that. As Bill said earlier,
I have to show the viewers what I got.
Nice.
As a gift, I got these.
Nice set of
Yep, and these are brass dice. They're heavy like crazy. You can kill someone with these, and they're absolutely awesome. And we also figured out why there are 2 D20s, and this is because this is probably a 5e set. So you have 2 D20s, so you can roll advantage and disadvantage. So that's probably a new kind of a new idea that you have 5e
I never
dice
thought
sets.
of the new 5e system as
because
opportunity to sell more dice.
Yeah, because I've seen several dice manufacturers at cons now. They have sets with 2 D20s, and that's probably for 5e, because then you just roll
or
2
two-fisted fighting ranger mage like your character.
Yep. But so these are, thank you again. These are fantastic. They're fabulous dice.
You're quite welcome.
Yep.
Dog is amazing.
We've had a great year, Lord Gazama channel, and so I gave all my players Anna, Christoph's partner Anita, who played, and all my mods and all my DMs, I gave them all a set of dice. So thank you all once again. It was just to say a token of my appreciation for this year. Well, I'm trying. The PAX weekend was tiring, and I went over a lot of that on Sunday night. But I'm going to say I've recovered, and tomorrow night's adventure, real quick, and then is we'll start with that. So I already popped this up. I'm going to pop it up one more time. But whoops, I hit the wrong button. Oh my God, Jay. Yeah, no, because
there it was.
I have it on the wrong shout out.
Yeah, but that was wasn't that the Shield
That's
Lands?
the Shield Lands, yeah. But then
the one you were looking for before, because I've seen it earlier in the show, and then when you wanted it, it wasn't there. So yeah.
There we go. All right, so tomorrow night, the Reborn Adventuring Group they're going to start as they've already been contracted to head up and assist the Selenian Swiss Forest Night Watch because these weird, strange albino humans all in white are appearing on the border and the Jewel on the Jewel River, and they're like, what the hell is this all about? And they hire groups to go into the Swiss, and that's how it kind of starts. So we'll see that tomorrow night. And that'll be our last adventure of the year, and then go 2 to 3 weeks. So that's tomorrow night. We start that. It's already you've seen all the terrain for it's up already, but then from there we go to Saturday night. Right, Saturday night we finish up. Well, we continue Tim City State Invincible Overlord campaign, and everyone's going to be there. It's going to be a full house almost as much as what we had, Anna, with you. The whole crew is going to be there. It's going to be a full house for a Saturday night game. Yes,
Awesome.
and it's going to be a
Yep.
mega fight. What level? All right, so the adventure on Thursday is like 7, 8, 9 Thunder. That's the adventure level of this group. So it's some pretty powerful characters for our campaign. Tom won't be there, so we'll be 2 characters short, and Bill will be late. So, but that's okay. And then the Saturday night special, my character's 13th level in that. My Cavalier Dervilius. That's a nasty group. And then Sunday, and I may reach out to some of you to see if you want to come on the show for this one. So Sunday's Gabbin is, and Carlos kind of gave me this idea when he was talking on Jason's new post. And Jason, please feel free to link it up if you want to join any of these people on tonight to join it. Jason has a new Facebook group. It's called Greyhawk, The Earth Abides, like the dude abides, I guess. And it's a good group, and there's some really, like myself, Carlos Gaetano, Tommy John Kelly, and who else is it? David Leonard. We've all been joined up on that. I think there's only Will. There's about a dozen people right now. So I know he's looking for more people to join up on that. It's kind of going to keep it a small group. There it is. So please feel free to join that. Jason, I think Bill, the Master Crafter, asked to join. I think Tim will ask to join. So we'll get some more people tonight, definitely, in that group. So Sunday night, Hidden Gem NPCs of Greyhawk. And I'm talking about ones that are maybe mentioned in one place. So that'll be the discussion on our Gabbin Sunday night. Like I said, Sharon Velvelinar is one of my favorites of all time. Valderessa Sharn, who's alive in my campaign. Yeah, that's who Blade Storm, characters like that, that you've seen 1 or 2 places. We're going to talk about them. Plus, we'll talk about some that are probably homebrew as well. So that'll be Sunday. Then Mark's group is up Monday night. He continues Gates of Firestorm Peak. So we got 5 streams in 6 days. Busy week. So, and then we'll be working on getting some meeting groups together for our fundraiser and for Gary Con. So we got a lot of stuff going on. So great show, guys. Great show. Thank you all. Thanks, audience, for another one. But I forgot what the next Legends and Lore is. How can I forget that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can I forget that? All right. So
I even made you the ad today.
I do. It's embedded in the Miniature Building Authority ending ad.
Good.
But let me pop it up here. Oops, it's not that one. That's Knighthoods of Greyhawk.
That's the
here
one
it is.
we have today. Yep.
There we go. All right. Next one is Saltmarsh Then and Now. Okay.
Yep.
So what we're going to discuss. Thank you, Gaetano. What we're going to discuss next week is Saltmarsh came out as a 5e book, and I want to go over the different discussions. I'll do the old U series. Mike, you got what's going on in the Saltmarsh book, and Brian Sublime will come on when he gets done his game after 9 about his campaign in the area of Saltmarsh that is 5e based but is separate, and all the other stuff he's got going on in the Saltmarsh area. So we'll have a bunch of other things. I was hoping Will could come on, but he's got a game stream that time. I wanted to see why he's still not on streaming, so he may be able to come on and then leave early. So that's what we're going to do. And good, you got an index for that. I think it'll be an interesting discussion because
we actually ran Saltmarsh twice.
The 1E version. Cool.
Yeah, I ran. I ran at 1E for 3rd edition though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that'll be a good discussion because we'll breach that then and we'll breach now. Hopefully I'll have the Anna maps up and we'll be able to link them this time. But also the adventure Carlos and I wrote for that Horror in the Hools takes place in the Saltmarsh area too. It takes place right on the Duntide River that I ran on.
Uh-huh.
So we have that discussion as well for GaryCon coming up. We'll have that going. So we got a lot of stuff in the area. I figured it'd be nice to tie in 5E with 1E all the way, from past to present.
Cool.
So okay, guys, thanks, man. What a great night. Another great one. We're kicking off a rough and tumble week here, and so I will say one other thing. There's a good chance that that's awesome, Jason. Definitely link that again next week too. Absolutely. Tomorrow night's show we start at 7:30 p.m. EST. Reaper's show of their recap starts from 7 and goes to 8 p.m. and they're supposed to have a Lord Gazumba channel weekly update now on that. So they're going to have that, and then they're going to show some pics from our previous week's adventure, and then whether they rate it into us or not depends on what else they got going on. But we'll have weekly recaps on that show too, which is awesome. So I just want to put that out there. So things are going great. Thank you all for another fantastic night. Anna, Mike, thanks. That was awesome. Keep it going.
Anytime we can fill the time.
Yes.
Yep.
One more. We'll have one more. Next week will be the last Legends of Lore for the year because of Christmas and the New Year. But we'll be. I've got confirmation for 3 Living Greyhawk people to come on a show in January. We haven't set a date yet, but so that's it.
Merry Need Fest.
Yes, exactly. We have to have a Need Fest in early January. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you can, guys, get on tomorrow night and see. The beginning starts with a rough and tumble brawl right at the beginning of tomorrow's adventure. You probably saw the pics. If you saw the pics, you see that there's fighting going on already. So of course I start them off with something rough and tumble. So all right. We'll let me see who's on tonight.
See who you can raid. Yeah.
Raid time.
All right. So Jimmy Duffy's on Praetor's Rejects. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start
perfect.
it. I'm going to start it. I'm going to switch into that. I'm going to put the NBA thing up. So let me see if this works here. Man, they changed the whole creator dashboard. They could change it all around, and now I got a blank screen. All right, so we're going to raid into Jimmy Duffy tonight. Okay.
Cool. Yep.
All right, I'm going to start that, and on here I'm going to go into the NBA screen, and then it'll take us right into Praetor's Rejects. Guys, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow night.
See ya.
Let's see if I can do this right. Which button? Oh, my gosh. 4. Okay. See, there we go.
Hey.
All right, here comes, I'm going to raid now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yo.
Hi,
Hey,
Mike.
Tim.
Oh, sorry, Tim.
Hi. Just, oh, are you guys talking? Did I step on somebody?
You're good.
No, you didn't step on anyone. It's just that
Okay.
they can still hear us. Yep, I think.
Oh, Jay, I actually found the sheet with the Knights of the Eastern Sun that you guys